so they stay cleaner longer. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Call 317-388-5141 or visit ZeroResIndy.com and be sure and ask for that WIBC special.
Life is expensive enough as it is. Your shower doesn't need to be. Hey, it's Matt Bear, and I switched to Suave Men 2-in-1 body and face wash, and I realized I got the same clean as other brands for less. 80% of men agree Suave cleans just as well as the leading brands for half the price or less. Made right here in the USA. You know the difference between paying for quality and paying for a fancy bottle. Suave Men is quality without the unnecessary extras. Check out Suave Men 2-in-1 body and face wash at Walmart for less than $5. What are you waiting for?
Your home is making an impression. Chipped paint, tired colors. Is it the right one? You need Spartan Construction Group. With over 20 years experience painting homes, they'll get the job done right the first time and often by up to 50% less than your traditional paint job. And with a 7-year warranty. Call 317-649-5266 or Google Spartan Construction and get 20% off now. That's right, 20% for all your exterior needs. Spartan Construction Group. Painting exteriors, transforming impressions.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Good Monday morning. Coming up in a couple of minutes, one Indianapolis firefighter is in the hospital this morning, and what police say is wrong with a vacant home on the Near East Side of Indy. What forecasters are saying is the biggest threat as severe weather moves in, and what the cops are saying about a double murder investigation. After Fox News, from the Price Point Comfort Mitsubishi Electric Studios 93 WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, it is 9 o'clock.
It's quieter in the Middle East. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. No American attacks and no Iranian retaliation after bombing had resumed for 13 days in a row. Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv.
For the past 3 nights, the United States has halted strikes against Iran, but the White House is making clear the military option remains on the table as the administration is exploring a variety of options moving forward with both diplomacy and intense economic pressure. The U.S. naval blockade does remain in effect, costing the regime hundreds of millions of dollars per day.
But while the U.S. and Iran pause the fighting, Ukraine's gotten involved.
Iran's foreign minister says a Ukrainian attack on an Iranian commercial vessel cannot go unanswered. Abbas Araghchi was talking after an explosion in the Caspian Sea killed one sailor and injured another. Ukraine says it targeted a Russian warship and vessels used for transporting Iranian-linked military cargo.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. With the U.S. and Iran pausing in attempts to get back to negotiating, oil prices are plunging, down 6%. Brent crude back to $90 a barrel. Last week it hit 100 again. At the gas pump, though, prices up 11 cents from last Monday. President Trump may talk about all that later today when he goes to Michigan to discuss the economy and visit a GM facility ahead of next week's primaries.
Voters in Michigan will choose nominees for open Senate and governor's races and pick candidates across all of Michigan's 13 congressional districts. Trump won Michigan in 2016 and 2024, so both parties see this as a critical state to win over.
Fox's Alex Hogan. The manhunt continues in Seattle for a second gunman after last night's shooting sent people panicking and running away from a food festival near the Space Needle. 7 people caught in the crossfire. 3 died. Assistant Seattle Fire Chief Tyrone Davis.
We do have one suspect that is being interviewed. We've recovered 2 guns.
A 2-year-old boy among the 4 injured. He's now in stable condition. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Smoke and flames, and who's to blame? 71 degrees in downtown Indianapolis, cloudy skies, sun starting to peek through on this Get Back to Work Monday. Temperatures going up to 88. A heat advisory kicks in a couple of hours. Good morning. I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending at 9:02. 3 firefighters hurt working a house fire early this morning on the Near East Side of Indianapolis, not too far from Willard Park and Ohio Streets and State Street. One firefighter taken to the hospital. They say it was a vacant home that burned. They also say criminal activity is abundant at this home and it's burned before. Monday's storms will come in 2 rounds. Forecasters keeping a close eye on the second round, though, which they're really concerned about. Andrew White at the National Weather Service says these storms could bring some problems.
Those threats for damaging winds continue into Monday, with another round potentially moving in either late in the day into the evening hours or potentially even into the overnight, Monday night into Tuesday.
And White says there is a small chance for tornadoes with these. Indiana health leaders say cyclosporiasis cases continue to rise across the state. The Indiana Department of Health reports about 750 cases, including 100 in Allen County. The illness is linked to food or water contaminated with a parasite that causes watery diarrhea and stomach issues. Anyone with symptoms should check in with their doctor. A man charged with double murder from 3 years ago. Jarrett Lewis has more.
Investigators releasing information on Friday about a double homicide case in 2023 on the north side of Indianapolis. Detectives said 24-year-old Noah Brimage is now facing murder charges for the killings of 24-year-old Olivia Brown and 27-year-old Darian Wiley. Police say Wiley and Brown were walking to a car after a night out in May of 2023 when they were shot in cold blood. Both families spent years without answers, as investigators only had surveillance video showing possible suspects in hoodies. A pistol belonging to Wiley was found in Brimage's car during a traffic stop, helping investigators tie him to the murders. Jarrett Lewis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Indianapolis police are looking into claims involving a Cardinal Ritter High School employee having an inappropriate relationship with the student. The school says it notified the Archdiocese of Indianapolis and that the employee is no longer with the school. A swimmer died after being pulled from a lake at France Park in Cass County yesterday. The Indiana Department of Natural Resources says dispatchers received a call about 1:45 about an adult swimmer who went missing. It did not resurface. I'm Ryan Hedrick on the Level on the Go and at WIBC.com. At 9:04, coming up on 9:05, traffic with Matt Bear.
All right, Ryan, looking at westbound 70s top and go Rural Street into the north split. Northbound 65 slow into construction, Raymond up to Washington. Traffic sponsored by the Blizzard Double Flip Deal at Dairy Queen. What's better than grabbing a Blizzard treat? Snagging a second one for just 99 cents with the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Only in the DQ app. DQ, happy tastes good, for a limited time at participating U.S. locations. I'm Matt Bear on the 5, said WIBC Traffic.
Central Indiana summers bring the heat, but they also bring the moments that matter most, like family time and outdoor fun. That's why AES Indiana is investing in reliability upgrades. It's about more than electricity. It's about powering what matters to you.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? Have you heard of hepatitis C? Hepatitis C is a leading cause of liver cancer, yet it often has no symptoms. And people born from 1945 to 1965 are 5 times more likely to have it. But here's some good news. Treatments are now available that can cure hepatitis C, which is why you should talk with your doctor about getting a blood test for hepatitis C. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Now your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Hot weather continues across the area for today. Along with that, we could be looking at severe weather by the afternoon and evening with damaging winds and large-sized hail. Look for a high today at 88. Storms ending, some clearing, a low tonight down to 70. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien for 93 WIBC.
It's 71 degrees in the capital city. I'm Ryan Hedrick on the Level on the Go and at WIBC.com. Here's Ethan and Jerry on 93 WIBC.
Good morning, Indianapolis. This is the show you've all been waiting for. E&J 100 returning to the airwaves. Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez. And woo-wee! I stepped outside my door this morning and I thought, Jerry, I have put on the wrong clothes. I need to be wearing swimming trunks instead. It is sickeningly humid outside. My goodness. It's supposed to be a high of 88. Ugh. I want to smack that weathercaster when I heard him. Just, you shut up. You stop that.
It's super gross outside. You know you know how you know it's nasty when 100% Cuban kid is like, it's super gross outside. Like,
it's too hot.
It is nasty. It's muggy. Take a shower, and it almost feels like a waste of time this morning.
And like you got to be genetically acclimated to like the island tropical climate, right?
It's gross out there.
And it's surpassed that. It is gross. So stay frosty, ladies and gentlemen, if you need to get a break from the heat. Heat stroke is a very real thing. Let's not forget our brothers and sisters in Europe die by the tens of thousands every year due to lack of air conditioning. In fact, more people die in Europe due to heat-related illness each year than people who die by firearms in America. And yes, that includes suicides. So it's a real problem, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to stay cool. Of course, the temperature, not the only thing that's heating up right now in Madison, Wisconsin. Leftists have chosen a new scumbag hero to be their martyr as they are attempting to marshal a George Floyd 2.0 as last week on Wednesday, another individual lost their life at the hands of police officers.
The city of Madison now grappling with issues of race in policing after a black suspect was fatally shot in a struggle with police. We caution you, this video is difficult to watch. Overnight, protesters marching through downtown Madison following a deadly encounter between police and a black man authorities say was armed with a knife.
No justice, no peace!
Police say officers were called for reports of a man checking vehicle doors. When officers tried to make contact, they say he fled on a bicycle. About a half hour later, officers catching up with him and a physical struggle ensued in a busy intersection. Police say the man produced a fixed blade knife and injured an officer. They say they tased him, but it failed to stop the suspect.
The overall situation is clearly elevated. It becomes incredibly dangerous, and it obviously increases risk for everyone there, for every officer, for the person as well. I think it severely narrows the scope of options and possible outcomes.
Video circulating online, officers appear to be wrestling with the man on the ground before 3 shots are fired. The man, who has not yet been identified, later died at the hospital. What appears to be stoking tensions is clearly a lack of trust. The police were not wearing body cameras, which are not widely deployed from the department.
What? Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
What do you mean you've seen this? It's brand new.
Yeah, well, I saw it on a rerun.
It's a rerun.
You'll find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've already done this once before, and one summer of love is enough as far as I'm concerned. But now you've got the ambulance-chasing, race-baiting attorney Ben Crump, who's joined Corey Ruiz's family, and now they're demanding the police officers be criminally charged.
Yeah, Ben Crump is the attorney that you want to keep an eye on. So he's always the one that seems to be involved in any of these racial undertones, summer of love, qualifying type interactions with police. He is now the police, like you said, ambulance chaser. He is the siren chaser. Ben Crump is. What we all need to keep in mind is what's happening in November. Elections. This is when these things happen. It's always during an election year, and it's always some knucklehead who has 1,000 run-ins with the police.
Yeah, that's what I was
it's
about to say.
It's never just some like good kid who hands up, don't shoot was predicated on a lie. It was all a lie.
And this seems to be going in a similar direction, according to Madison's police chief, John Patterson, who reports officers initially responded to calls about someone who was stealing bicycles and checking parked car doors to see if they were unlocked so they could rummage through and presumably take whatever they could find. Initially, officers responded to the suspect who fled on a bicycle. They were intercepted by police officers a short time later. Reports are unclear. They either fell or were pushed from the bike, began scuffling with police officers, pulled a knife, got the knife on one of those police officers, the same one who returned fire, ultimately resulting in Corey Ruiz's fatality. This was not a one-off incident. As you said, he's somebody who's well known to law enforcement officers, not shocking to anybody, I'm sure, has a lengthy criminal rap sheet in Wisconsin for crimes related to battery, theft, resisting law enforcement officers, etc. Seems like he's just returning to the same stew. And now they're demanding, instead of accountability, instead of acknowledging accountability for their family, demanding criminal accountability for the police officers who are doing their job and protecting the community. This is bass-ackwards.
Well, it sounds like he's the perfect martyr.
Mhm.
I mean, right? That he checks all the boxes of what they need for these kinds of things. It's just nuts. I mean, he had a knife. He had already ran from the police. I bet they're showing his 7th grade picture.
You know they are.
Right?
I can't wait for the family member that spends 40 grand on another gold chain, just like George Floyd's brother.
I mean,
It's coming. It's coming. And this is a little longer clip than I usually play, but I wanted to give you an impression of just the kind of outrage that is attempted to be fomented by these cultural Marxists and race baiters in Madison, Wisconsin right now, who are demanding that not only the police officers be criminally charged for dealing with this miscreant, but also that the police be removed entirely. They want racial control of their own communities. This is some shocking stuff from the Madison protesters.
We come in with demands for them. So meet us out there. Come on out there and join us. Okay? Number one, don't let them tell you this was an accident. This was not an accident. This was murder. Murder! This was not bad training. A few bad apples, if that were true, then they would be shooting white people and rich neighborhoods up too. Number two, this was the way the system works. This is the way the system works. Black people are colonialized. I'm not saying that word right. You did! Here,
I'm not saying
and
that
the
word right.
police
You
is
know
the
what I mean.
occupying army. Anytime there is an occupying army, no one ever says give the army more training or put more black people in the occupying army. The only thing we want is for the occupying army is to leave.
Yes,
leave. This is why we need community control, y'all.
Yes.
This is why we need to come to the city, county, the PCPO board. We need to let them know what we're demanding.
Yes.
We want control over our own people.
Yes.
We want control over who's hiring and who's firing the police.
Yes.
We want them out of here. We want them out of here.
Are you serious? Well, those certainly were words, Jerry Lopez, that they used.
Yeah, so here's the crazy part, though. And this is the part you need to keep in mind. You know what sounds really nice to her? Democratic Socialists of America.
Yeah, no police.
And that's where it gets scary when the DSA can sit there and talk to a lady like that who, whether she's completely off her rocker, right, and is completely wrong, somebody thinks she's important. Somebody thinks she's a person of influence. So people are listening to those words that she is putting together to make sounds that are wrong, but the DSA would sound great to her. And that's how you start getting these real candidates that want to abolish ICE, abolish the police, abolish this, have community advocates walking around.
They also seem to be completely incoherent as to what their demands actually are, because you just heard on the one hand, they want police to leave, to go away. They call them an invading and occupying force that needs to be gone, while at the same time demanding control over the hiring and firing process of police officers. Well, you can't have both those things at the same time. You can't have no police while also controlling the hiring and firing process of a police force that you don't want to be there.
Well,
I mean, it's incoherent.
I think the DSA literally they just dropped their whatever, their notes, their party platform, excuse me.
Yes.
And they said they wanted to get rid of the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, but create a new court that falls underneath Congress.
Dropping the notes, I believe you're talking about, are like the propaganda leaflets that used to be flown over World War II by the Germans trying to convince the communists and the Americans to defect. Thanks for listening to 93 at WIBC. This is Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez, E&J 100 Proof on the radio. Coming up next, updates on Don Lemon's indictment. You didn't think we forgot about him, did you? Turns out, looks like it's not looking good for the old Don Lemon. Details on the way. Stay tuned to the one and only 93 WIBC.
As America celebrates 250 years, WIBC takes you inside the moments that built a nation.
The Spirit of 76. A 1-minute look at this day in the Revolution. The battles, debates, and turning points that transformed a collection of colonies into these United States.
Weekday mornings at 7:35 and 11:35, and afternoons at 3:35 and 6:35, or anytime on demand at WIBC.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Batter up, Indiana. From home runs to hometown fun, the Indiana State Fair is knocking summer out of the park. There's so much to see and do. From classic fair favorites to can't-miss new treats. Up-close agriculture and live music and entertainment. August 7th through the 23rd, closed Mondays. Don't wait for the gate. Discount tickets on sale now. The Indiana State Fair, always a hit. Presented by the Indianapolis Indians.
Are you looking for a great deal on a certified pre-owned vehicle? Well, we've got them at Tom Roush Lincoln and Fishers.
Choose from a great selection of Lincoln certified pre-owned Nautilus, Aviator, Corsair, and Navigator, all with the confidence of a 6-year, 100,000-mile comprehensive warranty coverage. Get rates as low as 1.99% on qualifying Lincoln certified pre-owned models.
So upgrade to that Lincoln luxury at Tom Roush Lincoln and Fishers.
Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they helped me. They calmed me down. They made me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Listen, were you forced into getting a solar contract and now you just don't want it anymore? Maybe the solar company misled you. Or is your solar contract buried with hidden fees? Are you not saving the amount of money you thought you would on your energy costs? Don't worry. At the Solar Exit Hotline, we can help you cancel your solar contract, even if the panels are already installed. Our experienced legal team will review your contract and help you cancel it, possibly saving you thousands of dollars. You got to call right now for complete details. So listen, if you're not happy with your solar contract for any reason, we are here to help you cancel it. Call the Solar Exit Hotline now for immediate options to help you exit your solar contract. This call is 100% free.
800-798-9512. 800-798-9512. 800-798-9512. That's 800-798-9512.
You're listening to the 9 to Noon Show, 93 WIBC with Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez on the radio. This was a story you sent me about Don Lemon, more details surrounding his federal indictment. It's about time we heard a little bit more detail about Don Lemon after he joined protesters who stormed into Minnesota churches to harass parishioners. This was a big story at the end of last year, and of course, he's denying any responsibility. He says, I was just an observer. I was just an observer. You can't jail the press.
Yeah,
no, you were a participant,
and
dude.
that's the big issue. The big issue was he the press or was he a participant? And now come to find out, not only was he a participant, he was there for the planning phase.
Yeah, looks like according to the indictment, he was involved in a little bit more than just observation. This report from Fox News.
It's interesting, though. They're talking about Don Lemon being a part of in a conspiracy, that he met with the other defendants and that they were planning. They met at a shopping center for a pre-op briefing. It gets into quite a bit of detail in here, and it uses a lot of information from Don Lemon's live stream on his YouTube channel from before they got to the church. They say that he was gearing up for a resistance he was with an organization that was gearing up for a resistance operation against the federal government's immigration policies, and that he took steps to maintain operational secrecy by reminding certain co-conspirators not to disclose the target of the operation.
Move this man!
We didn't buy Don Lemon's weak-ass excuses when he was trying to make them, because we could see he was cheering on the people, the protesters who were disrupting the service, who were harassing parishioners. He said they deserved it. He said that all these white congregants need to be made uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that they were going to be, being Don Lemon and the protesters he joined, were there to provide that service. This wasn't about protesting. It wasn't about exercising First Amendment freedom of speech. Not when you are breaking into private property, you are disrupting private events, and you are harassing people in their place of worship. This is unacceptable.
Well, and leave it up to Don Lemon to make this about race, right?
Of course.
Always
That's all he
about
does.
race. But what he forgets to tell you is like his husband's white. Right, they always have a white spouse as much as they talk about race. AOC, guess what? Her boo is white too.
That's amazing how that always works.
The only one that doesn't have one's Ilhan Omar, and that's because her brother's also black.
Well, we'll be getting to Ilhan Omar too, because
I know
now
we are. She's about to catch it.
Yeah, JD Vance is making the drop that they are certain that she has violated immigration law, but right now they are trying to put the case together exactly as how they're going to move forward with prosecution.
Yeah, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Steve Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out, is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build the case necessary to get some justice for the American people? There's a related issue, Benny, which is she has been at the center of a lot of the worst fraudsters in the Somalian community. So do I know that Ilhan Omar was aware that the Quality Leering Center was defrauding the American people? I'm not certain of it, but we at least need to investigate it, because if people can commit wrongdoing without even the fear that they're going to be found out, that's a fundamental problem. So I'm worried about the immigration fraud. I'm also worried about, what did Ilhan Omar know about what was happening in the Somali community, and why was nobody looking into it until, frankly, Donald Trump came along?
Wow, that is delicious. Finally.
Now, I've never heard it pronounced that way. Ilhan Omar. Whether you say it's Ilhan or Ilhan Omar, we know who we're talking about. Right. And it seems like at this point, the facts are closing in quickly regarding impropriety, immigration fraud, and then possible connections to the welfare fraud, the rampant welfare fraud that was going on in Minnesota. Distinct possibility and merits further investigation. Whether it's Don Lemon or Ilhan Omar, these are the agitators. These are the crapsters, the mud rakers, who are always seeking to capitalize on outrage to further their own prominence and presence.
Yeah, no, and to his point, I mean, this is me. This is Jerry Lopez's opinion. I don't think...
We do opinion radio here.
I just saying, I don't think that all of that fraud happens in the Somali community, in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, and she has no idea.
Mm-hmm.
No idea at all. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Saying it's incredibly unlikely that this level of fraud is happening in a vacuum, especially when you're dealing with immigrants. How do they know the system?
Exactly.
More importantly, who's informing them about the system to defraud? Somebody with presumably a little bit of inside information that knows how it works, right?
That maybe hates the system.
Maybe hates the system. Maybe wants to destroy it from the inside. Who might that be? Well, I guess the investigation will reveal. Time will tell, right, Jerry?
Yeah, we're going to find out.
Just like we found out with Don Lemon, you can't hide this forever. Of course, he's putting on the brave face that, oh, no, I was just there as an observer. But then you have the on-the-ground communication that's being revealed by the Justice Department where he is talking with agitators, with organizers, with co-conspirators to actively push and make this possible. And again, it shouldn't be overlooked. Like, hey, I'm an atheist, but I believe in freedom of religion. Absolutely. You think for somebody like me, I believe in freedom of expression. So I support the First Amendment, but you don't have the right to go break into somebody's private property and disrupt their worship service any more than I would want to have my personal property broken into and my peace disrupted.
Right. Well, and it also gets to a further point of the inmates were running the asylum in the last administration. There were so many things that were going on that were not just only illegal, but unethical, immoral, and the fraud that was taking place, to include leaving the border door just wide open. Right?
The fox was in the hen house.
Yeah, the director of the FBI posted 8647. Like the director of the FBI. It is now coming out that the director of the FBI, along with Joe Biden, along with Obama, completely fabricated the Russian dossier with Hillary Clinton. Like, what was really going on in our country in the last 6 to 12 years?
They are fomenting lawlessness because the reality is so many lawbreakers make up the fundamental part of their base.
Oh, that is true. And so many of them are
Democrat voters. So if you wonder why it seems to lack logic or coherence, realize that ultimately at the end of the day, this is all part of their election strategy because to these people, those are voters. That's a voting block.
Well, yeah, they don't want to fit in any of their voting block, and their voting block encompasses all of the victim groups.
Yeah, very much so. It's crazy to see, but of course we're going to continue following the investigation every step of the way, and hopefully we'll see some resolution, especially when it comes to the wayward Congressman Ilhan Omar. We want to get an end cap to that as soon as possible. Thanks for listening to 93 at WIBC. Don't miss a moment, but coming up next, we have the news with Ryan Hedrick. Don't miss it.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He said they should go to any lengths to get this done. Downtown Indianapolis right now, partly sunny skies, 71 degrees. Radar all clear. It's going to be warm. A heat advisory in effect at 11 this morning. And good Monday morning. I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending at 9:30. President Trump continuing to push the Senate to pass the Save America Act. The bill would require proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote and a photo ID to cast that ballot.
Nuke the filibuster. Do whatever it takes to pass the Save America Act. I think the NDAA and the upcoming reconciliation package that the House is going to send over to the Senate are the best opportunities that we have.
And that's Senator Jim Banks stopping by Fox's The Big Weekend show to talk about what he wants to see done in Congress. Millions of Americans dealing with heat today. Another heat dome has settled over the central part of the U.S., pushing temperatures into the triple digits from Kansas through North Dakota, Colorado to Minnesota, and of course here in Indiana. Music icon Carly Simon sharing an update about her health. The 83-year-old told People that she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease after an extensive evaluation at the Mayo Clinic. And the opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. The Dow is up 600 points today to 51,947. The S&P up 61 3/4 to 7411, and the Nasdaq is up 353.5 to 28,128.342. I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here, and Gutter Helmet is celebrating America's 250th birthday the right way with $250 off gutter helmet installation of 150 feet or more. Leaves, debris, water damage don't stand a chance against Gutter Helmet, the #1 gutter protection system keeping Indianapolis's homes safe, dry, and worry-free. Rain or shine, all 4 seasons. So this July 4th, declare your independence from ladders, from clogs, from weekend gutter duty. This patriotic offer won't last long, and restrictions may apply. So don't let freedom slip through your fingers like water through a clogged downspout. No high-pressure sales, free estimate, 40 years family-owned, 3 generations strong. Call 1-800-5HELMET. That's 1-800-5HELMET, or visit them online at gutterhelmetindy.com. Call today, Gutter Helmet, because America deserves better gutters.
What makes Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus different? They offer the same Smith Brothers and Lazy Boy sofas and recliners as all the other guys, but what the other guys don't offer is Thompson Furniture and Mattresses prices, customer service, and free delivery, which saves you hundreds, if not thousands. It's Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Get the best prices, the best service, free delivery, and interest-free financing options available on everything at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, now through Monday during their Made in the USA sale.
Pat Sullivan here for Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Summer brings fun in the sun, but also sneaky underground root growth that can wreak havoc on your main line. Don't let unexpected mainline issues ruin your summer. Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling can get to the root of your problem with their It Flows for $43 or It's Free offer. For $43, Hope will do a mainline snaking plus a free camera inspection. If they can't get it flowing, it's free. Call Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
She said she was fine, but I noticed she stopped using the front steps. And another time, she grabbed the wall instead of the railing. It's little clues like these that often show up before a fall ever happens. This is Tina McIntosh, founder of Joy's House and co-host of Caregiver Crossing. Falls are the leading cause of injury for older adults, but there are simple ways to lower that risk. Stay tuned.
Cardon & Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Visit cardon.us to find a community near you.
One of the easiest checks starts with shoes. If they're worn down or they're slippery, they need to be replaced. Another is lighting. Shadows in hallways and dim corners at night can be dangerous, but even a small night light can make a big difference. Rearranging furniture to clear walking paths and tightening loose railings, those are also quick things that help prevent falls. Paying attention to these details not only keeps someone safer, it helps them hold on to their independence longer. More caregiving tips and resources are available anytime at joyshouse.org, with new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana.
Good morning. This is the 9 to noon show on 93 WIBC, ENJ 100 per oof here on the radio. Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez. If you haven't done so already, make your way to the YouTube machine where you can find us broadcasting live. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. That's how you promote us and help lift the station, boosting us in the algorithm. Also, drop us a line in the chat. As we do the show live, we will be cataloging the best comments for the best YouTube comments of the day at the end of the show when the listener becomes the star. So hop in and share your opinions with us. This segment wanted to do a retrospective on the White House Correspondents' Dinner that was held on Friday. Of course, this was a bit of a redo. Not sure if maybe people remember that attempted assassination at the last Correspondents' Dinner. This one, fortunately, a little less dramatic.
Yeah, this was actually it was a lot of fun. Donald Trump had some bangers. Obviously, somebody writes these jokes, right? He has joke writers for these.
Yeah.
His delivery's pretty good, though.
I think it was a mixed bag. Some of them really hit.
Yeah.
Some of them missed the mark a little bit, in my opinion. But this line about Joe Biden just falling asleep at the wheel was hilarious.
Just remember, before I came along, if you wanted to see someone lose consciousness on the south lawn of the White House, all you had to do is ask Joe Biden a question. Remember that. Oh, you think I'm kidding?
Boom. Roasted.
That's hilarious. I mean, really, though, I think Joe Biden was the first time that you remember seeing a national executive, like literally nodding off, falling asleep, losing his mind, tripping upstairs, wandering off sometimes. Remember those press conferences where you'd have other people answering the microphone and then you just see Joe Biden in the background chasing butterflies?
People held it. People would be holding his hand the way I would hold my kid's hand if I took them to an event.
Yeah.
Kind of leading them around. Do you remember the Easter Bunny leading around the President of the United States?
I do remember the Easter Bunny, kind of taking charge. Donald Trump quipped about that last Easter at the White House when he said the bunny wasn't going to be taking charge this time. Yeah, there were, like I said, though, some mixed bags. I don't think that this joke, if you can call it that, about a fourth term has landed, especially when Donald Trump, he keeps coming back to this well, man. He keeps coming back to that. I'm going to run for a fourth term. Well, how many times can you repeat the same joke and it still be funny if that's what you're trying to do?
People have no idea how lucky you are when I'm gone. You're all going to be broke. Your business model is going to be finished. No, it's true. When I'm not around, you're going to be broke. There's not going to be anybody to report on. Nobody gives a damn about anybody else. The New York Times the other day had 5 stories about me. You know, before I got into politics, in my whole life, I had 7 front page stories. This is years of success. I think 6 were good, 1 was bad. I had 5 stories, 7, 5 good. Yeah, I had a total of 7 stories on the front page of the New York Times. That's not bad. Now I average about 3 or 4 a day. All different topics, all bad, everything bad. But here we are. I mean, here we are. In fact, when I'm finished, I'm going right back to the Oval Office. So I have to be doing okay. But we are all doing good together. That's why tonight, to show just how much I care about the press, and I want to save your ratings, I'm pleased to announce my intention to, and this is somewhat of a scoop, my intention to run for a 4th term as President of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official. In fact, I think I have. Yeah, I won 3 times.
Pulls out a hat.
I'm going to do it again.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! Now, Jerry, you can call me a wet blanket and a wussy if you want to, but I don't like it when the president, and we'll give him the benefit of the doubt here because his correspondence different, but even when he's joking about violating the Constitution. I don't want to hear that from the president. Sorry. Especially when he's trotted this out several times before. I just think it's tired, it's boring, and you can find better material elsewhere. That's my take.
I'm not denying that the joke isn't old, but I think what he's saying still lands, right? When Donald Trump is no longer here, even though the people in that room loathe Donald Trump, they have made so much money on talking bad about him and creating the TDS that when he's gone, yes, people are just going to go away. There's nothing else to hear anymore.
You know how the economy can be described as bullish when it's going up or bearish when it's going down? I think we're in the bearish decline of the Trump administration. I'm not sure that the TDS gets the same level of traction and the same ratings generation.
Well, it's been 12 years straight.
Well, right, it's been 12 years straight.
Yeah.
Well, remember that speech that Trump just gave that so many networks didn't even bother to carry. Once upon a time, that would have been almost unheard of because of what a ratings generator Trump was. Whether you love him, whether you hate him, he's outraged, he's must-watch TV, and I think some of that magic after 12 years, like you said, has started to rub off a little bit. The shine,
but this
not
isn't
so
the first
shiny.
time. This is the first time that a TV company has refused to air one of his speeches. They've done this before in the past, especially when he's going to be mentioning things like the election being stolen. Companies seem to be a little weary to air that on their airwaves.
Yeah, they especially don't like having the salt rubbed in their wound after the 6,600 non-citizen voters were revealed coming out of New Jersey. They don't want to be giving Republicans the airtime to legitimize passing the SAVE Act in order to verify the authenticity of every vote that happens in our country, which any American should be invested to ensure that happens. But it wasn't a all bad or all good night for Donald Trump. And like I said, some of them were some real zingers that he made. Another one that made me laugh uproariously was this zinger against Gavin Newsom. Just give this a listen.
One or two potential presidential hopefuls attend the correspondence dinner, but many of them seem to have really chickened out. I was disappointed that Gavin Newsom didn't show up. He didn't show up. He should be here. But I heard that he recently said that we will lose our country if we don't fight fire with fire. And to be fair, there's only one thing we know about Gavin, and that's that he definitely doesn't want to fight fire with water. He's got a lot of water he never uses. What a disaster. That should have never happened.
Excellent. Wasn't that hilarious?
Ouch. Ouch.
Gavin Newsom, he says he wants to fight fire with fire, but if there's one thing we know about Gavin, he doesn't like to fight fire with water.
Still, but you know what?
That's a good line.
That's a
I don't
great
care
line.
who you are. That's
but at
hilarious.
the same time, like, there's real people affected.
Yeah. No, there were definitely
That
real
sucks.
people. Yeah. What is comedy if not tragedy plus time?
Yeah.
Tragedy that was brought to you by Gavin Newsom, by the way, of California. So yeah, White House Correspondents' Dinner, bit of a mixed bag, but overall, I think we can all be grateful that this one was less dramatic than the last one, because you can express your outrage towards Donald Trump. Do it at the ballot box. He's nearing the end of his term. We only got until 2028. You have options here, and violence should never be the go-to for political discourse here in a civilized country like America.
100% agree that veterans didn't fight for us to agree on the same opinions. We fought for people to disagree, and nobody gets hurt. Nobody has to lose their life. Nobody comes up missing. You can learn to keep your hands to yourself. And like you said, you only have Donald Trump till 2028, unless
you take him out early,
unless he runs again.
Oh, right. Yeah, there is always that possibility. Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. Coming up next, I wanted to share a story that gets circulated every so often, by history enthusiasts. I'm not sure if many members of our audience are familiar with the tale of Timothy Dexter, the luckiest man alive. Have you heard?
I have not heard of
Lord
no.
Timothy Dexter. This is a very interesting character from Revolutionary War America. We'll be sharing some of his fantastically fortunate exploits in the next segment, so stay tuned to 93 WIBC, Ethan and Jerry on the radio.
Hammer and Nigel show. Nobody has more fun on the radio than we do. Find out for yourself. We cracked the mic at 3:06 this afternoon.
It's likely you've made peace with the congestion that greets you every morning. The snoring your partner stopped mentioning. It feels unfixable, but it isn't. For most, it's a nasal breathing problem that's treatable for good.
I'm Dr. Kandula, founder of Advent. Advent can deliver long-term results in about 20 minutes with simple in-office procedures. We diagnose and treat the root cause of nasal congestion, sinus pressure, sleep apnea, snoring, and allergies. 96% of patients with severe nasal breathing issues report improvement, and most major insurance plans are accepted.
Wake up and smell the life you've been missing. The family picnic, the run by the lake, the fresh cut grass. Breathe deep, sleep through the night, and step into every day sharper and more present. It's time for a new beginning. It's the advent of your best life.
At Duke Energy, we're making Indiana's energy grid stronger and more resilient, ready for storms and growing energy demands. We're adding more power to the Indiana grid. We're using new innovations and smart technology to restore outages faster. And we're doing it all in cost-efficient ways to keep bills as low as possible while we serve you with reliable energy. Duke Energy, building a smarter energy future. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Everything costs more these days. Groceries, gas, all of it. So why pay $10 for body wash? Suave Men 2-in-1 Body and Face Wash cleans your face and body in one bottle. 80% of men agree Suave Men cleans just as well as the leading brands for half the price. Less than $5 at Walmart.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief.
1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you ever ride your bike with a clothespin and a baseball card? Or use a typewriter for a school paper? Then here's a timely alert. Americans born from 1945 to 1965 are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C, which often has no symptoms, but is a leading cause of liver cancer. The good news? Treatments are available that can cure hepatitis C. Talk with your doctor about getting a blood test for hepatitis C. Know for sure. A message from the CDC.
WIBC is sending you to the 2026 Indiana State Fair. Listen for your chance to win a family 4-pack with 4 admission tickets to Indiana's biggest summer celebration. You can also purchase tickets and find all the latest deals at indianastatefair.com.
Welcome back to 93 WIBC. I'm Ethan Hatcher. Sitting next to me is Jerry Lopez. Producer Kev on the board in the producer's fishbowl. Beep, 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 pushing those buttons and doing the things to make the show function. If you haven't done so already, make your way to the YouTube machine. Find us broadcasting live on the 93 WIBC page. Give us a like, share, and subscribe. Help support the station. This segment, I wanted to discuss the luckiest man to ever live, Lord Timothy Dexter, one of the most colorful characters from the American Revolutionary War, a fascinating individual. Now, Jerry, everybody has in their life, I'm sure you've seen people like this, just a lucky son of a gun. Seems like nut never keeps them down. Even in a bad situation, they find some way to spin it into gold and work it to their favor. You've seen people like this before, right?
Yeah, some would say I may fall into this category. I feel like I'm a pretty lucky guy. Things that tend to work out for me. I look for the good things in life, or at least I try to make more of a point of doing that the older I get.
I think Donald Trump also an example of a phenomenally fortunate, lucky individual. Yeah. That's why they call him the Teflon Don. Nothing seems to stick to this guy, no matter what you throw at him. He always rises to the top. Lord Timothy Dexter, a man of a similar vein. He was born in Malden, Massachusetts, a province of Massachusetts, back when it was just a colony. And he was mostly an illiterate farmer. He dropped out of school so he could be a day laborer at the age of 8.
Okay.
When he was 16, he became a tanner's apprentice. And then in 1769, this is when his luck started to turn around. He moved to Newburyport, Massachusetts, where he married a 32-year-old Elizabeth Frothingham. She's what we call a spinstress, because she was a rich widow. And at 32 years old in Revolutionary War America, I mean, you might as well be 60 back then.
That's old woman.
That's old. Yeah, I'm 32 years old and
he's
unmarried.
16.
And I think he was a little older than 16 in 1769. That was when he became the tanner's apprentice when he was 16. So fast forward, I mean, not long though, just a couple years down the road, and he's getting married to Elizabeth Frothingham. And for the first time, this penniless, nearly illiterate farmer, he's got a little bit of money. And so he sets to building his fortune. They make a mansion in Newburyport, and then he purchases, because he's a patriot, a large amount of depreciated continental currency that's basically worthless. So all this, the money is literally not worth the paper that it's printed on. But the revolution resolves itself in favor of the Americans. So this guy who has hoarded basically worthless currency, and I'm talking about he bought this stuff at fractional pennies on the dollar in comparison, and he's keeping it like in warehouses, just stacks and piles of this paper. And then the American Congress decides to buy it back at 1% of its face value. Even at 1% of its face value, returning currency was a huge profit for this guy. So all of a sudden, he's fantastically rich. And the socialites of Massachusetts, blue-blooded even back then, were not happy with this and set to go about trying to ruin this man and take his fortune from him.
Big surprise.
So he was largely uneducated, and they decide it's going to be a good idea to advise him to send bed warmers used to heat the beds in the cold winters for resale in the West Indies, which is a tropical area. This was a plot to bankrupt him, but the ship's captain sold them as ladles to the local molasses industry and made a handsome profit. Next, they told him to sell wool mittens to the same place, where it turns out Asian merchants bought them for exploration in the mountains.
They tried to screw this guy, and he was still making money.
They tried to screw him several times. Then they go about, there was an old phrase for a pointless task. It's like selling coal to, or one should sell coal to Newcastle. This is like selling snow to Eskimos, because Newcastle was a huge producer of coal at that time in history. But when he sends this ship full of coal to Newcastle, all the miners were on strike. So they needed a supply of coal, and here comes this ship from Lord Timothy Dexter that arrives right in the nick of time. Again, fantastically lucky. So he makes off like a bandit on that. Another occasion, some jokers said that he could make money by shipping gloves to the South Sea Islands. They sold the gloves to Portuguese boats on their way to China. He exported Bibles to the East Indies and stray cats to the Caribbean islands, again making a profit because missionaries bought the Bibles and plantation owners bought the cats to take care of the rat problem. He also accumulated whale bones that were useless and worthless until the male corset industry blew up in France. Up to that point, they had only been making corsets for females. They tried to expand the fashion to men in France, and for a brief time, they needed a lot of whale bones to make this possible. And who had the whale bones to make it happen? None other than Lord Timothy Dexter. Are you getting a picture of how phenomenally lucky this guy was?
I mean, there's no doubt this is the luckiest person to ever exist.
So then he proceeds to write a book, a life and times of Lord Timothy Dexter, that he titles A Pickle for the Knowing Ones. It quickly becomes a collector's item because of how eccentric and bizarre it is. Remember, he's a mostly illiterate, day laborer. And he didn't bother to hire a proofreader for this book. So it contains bizarre usage of grammar, misspellings. He didn't use any
and he's filthy rich.
He didn't use any capitalization or punctuation. And so the first printing of the book is nearly unreadable. For the second printing of the book, he includes 2 or 3 pages in the appendix of just pronunciation and says, "Thou may salt and pepper them where thou willst." So he's snarky.
He might be the original guy that had money that said, "I'll just do it my way.
I'll just gonna do whatever I want. I'm a rich, moneyed eccentric."
Old Kanye.
One of the things he did was create a statue garden of famous, influential people, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. He got in an argument with the sculptor because he said that Thomas Jefferson was the author of the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson was the author of the Declaration of Independence. Everybody knows that. It was contemporary history. Like, this is something that just happened. These are people who literally read the Declaration of Independence, except Lord Timothy Dexter, who probably couldn't read. And he was so insistent with this sculptor, he pulled out a firearm and chased him off the ground because he's like, no, Thomas Jefferson, definitely the author of the Constitution. You have it wrong. I'm right. I'm Lord Timothy Dexter. I wrote A Pickle for the Knowing Ones. He was such a character. He didn't think that people loved him enough, and so he faked his own death at one point, and like 3,000 people show up to the wake, where he was so disgusted that his wife didn't make an overture of, sadness and despair, that he pops out from the shrubs and starts beating her with a cane.
No.
In front of everybody at his own wake.
The story needs to be told.
They need to make a movie about this Lord Timothy Dexter, and honestly, I'm surprised no one has. Check him out sometime. It's an amazing story of American history. And stay tuned to the one and only 93 WIBC. We've got more E&J 100 Proof on the way.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years guaranteed? Now through August 24th, new Xfinity customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi this summer before it disappears. Just $50 a month for 5 years. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. Plus, it keeps you protected from online threats. And get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable. Learn more at Xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
Are you looking for a great deal on a certified pre-owned vehicle? Well, we've got them at Tom Roush Lincoln and Fishers.
Choose from a great selection of Lincoln certified pre-owned Nautilus, Aviator, Corsair, and Navigator, all with the confidence of a 6-year, 100,000-mile comprehensive warranty coverage. Get rates as low as 1.99% on qualifying Lincoln certified pre-owned models.
So upgrade to that Lincoln luxury at Tom Roush Lincoln and Fishers.
Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Batter up, Indiana. From home runs to hometown fun, the Indiana State Fair is knocking summer out of the park. There's so much to see and do. From classic fair favorites to can't-miss new treats. Up-close agriculture and live music and entertainment. August 7th through the 23rd, closed Mondays. Don't wait for the gate. Discount tickets on sale now. The Indiana State Fair. Always a hit. Presented by the Indianapolis Indians.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency, with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, protecting our clients and preparing them for the best possible resolution. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Price Point Comfort Mitsubishi Electric Studios, a fire at a building on the near east side of Indianapolis from this morning, what kind of weather you could deal with across the state today, and advice that you'll hear from Duke Energy. Those stories are coming up next in just a couple minutes, right after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. And it's now 10 o'clock.
Stocks surge as oil prices plunge. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Dow's up big, 460 points as oil drops more than 6%, following a third straight night of quiet in the Middle East. The U.S. did not attack Iran again after 13 straight days of American bombing, but U.S. Ambassador to the UN Mike Waltz tells Fox.
As the president said, we are locked and loaded. Even more assets are going into theater, but he's giving talk some space. He's giving it a little bit of room.
Axios reports the top U.S. military commander in the Middle East, Admiral Brad Cooper, recommended stopping the bombing campaign around the Strait of Hormuz because it has reached the limit of its effectiveness. Despite the pause in military action, countries across the region do remain on high alert.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. President Trump may talk about Iran and oil and gas prices when he goes to Michigan later today, visiting a GM plant, campaigning for Republicans ahead of next week's primaries there. The search for a shooter continues in Seattle the morning after gunfire rang out at a food festival near the Space Needle.
Everybody just running, everybody screaming chaos after that.
Stampedes of people rushed from the danger. Police think 2 people were shooting at each other.
Taylor Winkle with Fox 13 Seattle is on the scene. 7 people were caught in the crossfire. 3 died.
Officers were already in the area. They responded. They say right when they got here, they addressed one of the shooters. That person gave up. That is the person who is in custody.
In Germany, the man who attacked a pride parade over the weekend is dead. Shot by police last night when, after they found him during a manhunt, he came after them with a knife.
Not only
is the suspect accused of driving a van into a crowd at a German Pride festival, but authorities also say he had previously tried to join ISIS. Investigators say the attack happened on Saturday. They believe the suspect, Abdul Balat, intentionally drove a van into a crowd at the Berlin Pride Festival. Police say he then got out and started stabbing others with a machete.
That's Fox's Jeff Paul. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Heavy damage and injuries. You've got cloudy skies and 78 degrees in downtown Indy. I'm Jake McDaniel. Here's what's trending at 10:02. 3 firefighters were injured while putting out a fire around 4:30 this morning.
IFD also told me this was a vacant home and there has been a fire here in the past. I spoke with a few neighbors and they told me they've seen several fires at this home over the last few years, and it's known for some criminal activity, which we are trying to get more information on. But no one was living here at the time of the fire and no one was inside this home when those flames first erupted. Again, we're just thankful that everyone is going to be okay. 3 firefighters slightly injured. We are still working to find out the cause of this fire.
And that's Fox 59's Hannah Fullman. 1 firefighter had to be taken to a hospital and is expected to be okay. Indiana might see 2 rounds of severe weather move through the region. Forecasters say the first round is set to move through between 1 and 7 today.
The main risk is going to be those damaging wind gusts of 60 to upwards of 80 miles per hour. Most of it would be more in that 60 range, but we can't rule out some higher wind gusts depending on how organized the system is as it comes through.
Aaron Updike at the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says it'll be hot and humid across much of central Indiana this afternoon into the evening as well. Power lines often come down during severe weather, and Duke Energy says they can hurt you even if you don't touch them. Lineman Jason Washburn says electric currents can ripple through the ground surrounding a down line.
Imagine throwing a stone in the water, right? You have the ripples coming out, and the ripples get smaller over time. That's what a power line's doing if it's making contact with the ground.
Washburn told Fox 59 currents can spread 30 feet out. If you see a down line, Duke Energy urges you to stay back and call emergency crews. Indianapolis Public Schools hosting a ceremony this morning, kicking off an expansion of Crispus Attucks High School. The campus expansion is nearly $45 million, and the project will include 4 new specialty classrooms, a state-of-the-art health academy lab, and a gym scheduled to be completed by winter of 2028. And NASCAR driver Corey Heim won the Brickyard 400. I'm Jake McDaniel, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. News time, 10:04. Jerry Lopez and Ethan Hatcher coming up in 1 minute.
It's just alcohol. Everybody drinks. You may have already heard this statement from your teen. I'm Tammy Silverman with Indiana Youth Institute. Alcohol is the substance most commonly abused by teens. Survey data shows that 2 in 10 Indiana high school students reported drinking in the past month, and more than half of Hoosier teens say it would be easy to get alcohol. How do you talk with your teen about alcohol use, especially if they see peers or adults drinking? First, understand that your child may point out contradictions in our society's views on alcohol. It's okay to acknowledge those facts. Talk with your teen about the many risks of alcohol use. During your conversation, you can both validate their views and uphold your family values. You are the first line of defense against alcohol abuse, so don't be afraid to talk to your teen. What you say has a big influence on their decision to drink or not. This Kids Count Minute is a message from Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, visit IYI.org.
Kids count on you.
Have we found the most racist clip that we will play? And is it by a president? And maybe one you haven't thought of. Welcome back to 93 WIBC. My name's Jerry Lopez. Ethan Hatcher sitting right over there. Kev in the producer's box doing his thing. And immigration is the topic of this segment. And when we talk about immigration, people like to say that you're racist.
Xenophobic, bigoted. These are topics or terms they use.
Big problem, especially if you want to enforce the laws on the books, Ethan.
Sure.
Seems to be a huge problem. But when we talk about immigration, there's one country in particular that seems to be doing it at a rate like no other.
It's a country I don't think a lot of listeners would expect either, and that's South Africa, who has managed to deport over 50,000 migrants in 5 weeks. They're putting ICE to shame with these numbers. We got to pump those numbers up, baby. Let's listen to this clip.
South Africa has deported 53,000 migrants in the past 5 weeks after the ruling party launched a, quote, migration management campaign. The action was prompted after anti-migrant rioting broke out across the country. With reports armed mobs had been going door to door in search of migrants, warning them to either leave or face violence. Peaceful protests sprung up earlier this year, led by anti-migrant groups which were fueled by fears over crime and competition for jobs in a country where the unemployment rate is more than 30%. Marchers typically chant, "They must go," in Zulu.
We are South African citizens who are actually sick and tired of the crime committed against South African citizens at the hands of foreigners who are entering the country illegally.
Most of the migrants deported were from Malawi, Zimbabwe and Mozambique, with the government stating thousands more will be sent home.
Ironic. I love this clip so much, Jerry, because there's so much to unpack. There's so much that directly confronts the worldview of these Marxists and leftists who support uninhibited, unhindered mass migration. So if it's racist and xenophobic for the United States to enforce its territorial integrity, is it racist and xenophobic for South Africa to do the same thing? Is it racist for South Africa to deport people from Zimbabwe, from Mozambique, from some of the other countries that are native to that continent because they're putting a drain on their social services, on their resources, and they're taking away jobs from their citizens? I mean, isn't that incredible that you're hearing clips from Black South Africans that mirror identically the problems that a lot of mainstream Americans are having with the same issue, illegal immigration?
And I wonder, would you be racist if you thought that that was okay since they were both black? Right? Because that's the ultimate question is, here's a black South African and a black person from Zimbabwe, and they want to do the exact same things that we're calling for here in the U.S. Is the issue that the people here look different?
I think one of the issues is the inherent racism in the Democrat and the left-wing community, because when they see Africa, they perceive Africa as a monolith. You know, Egypt, Ghana, Mozambique, South Africa, this is all the same place in the mind of a leftist, whereas clearly you can hear from that clip, they don't all think they're equal. They don't all think they're the same. They all see a distinct difference between each other and people that hail from the interior of the country versus the south of the country. People are from South Africa versus other parts of the continent. Yeah, I think they see a distinct difference amongst themselves, and they feel that difference in the form of job loss, in the form of economic and resource pressure.
Yeah, 53,000 in 5 weeks.
That's crazy. We need to bump up those numbers. We need to be
That's a lot of people.
South Africa doing something right. And one of the things that we need to address is like the birth tourism that has been taking place in this country. Something that
that is upheld by our own Supreme Court.
Unfortunately,
when they said birthright citizenship stays the way that it is, aka if you're illegal, if you're overstaying your visa, if you shouldn't be here, if you're just on a H-1B and you have a kid, your child is a citizen.
Brett Kavanaugh fortunately left the door open for further federal regulation, which now Jim Banks is trying to walk through and take advantage of in order to address the citizenship question. But it certainly needs and merits attention when you have companies that are literally paying and helping facilitate foreigners activate and take advantage of birth tourism here in the country in order to have American citizen sons.
Have My Baby in Miami. That's the name of an actual company that is facilitating birth tourism into the United States, where foreigners come in on visas, have children, then leave so that their children can remain American citizens. That's a problem. The American people are sick of it, and my task force on the House Oversight Committee is going after these companies.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
We need to get rid of these companies, and I mean not yesterday, but today, right now. I mean, how blatant is it when you got a company that's literally named Have My Baby in Miami? Google it, folks. This isn't a conspiracy. This is a fact.
Yeah.
I verified it. I looked this company up. I checked out their website. It's doing what Brandon Gill says it's doing. They're important third worlders and helping them create anchor babies to this country.
Yeah, and listen, it's not just in Miami. There was a story in Texas where there's a billboard just feet or maybe 100 yards from the border saying, have your baby in Texas.com.
No.
This was maybe the same week that the Supreme Court came down with the birthright citizenship, which really made Trump upset, which said he wanted to revisit that now with the Supreme Court because of the billboard in Texas. So this is now the second place that is openly doing this baby tourism.
And they're in deeply conservative states. In Florida. In Texas.
In Miami. Miami's hard red.
Mm-hmm. Got a lot of Cubans down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they remember the effects of communism. They don't want more of it. But, you got clinics like this, Have My Baby in Miami, that are actively working against that. It's nuts. Yeah. And Brandon Gill, by the way, quickly becoming one of my favorite United States representatives.
I wonder if
He's
you have
got
your
his finger on
baby.
the pulse.
I wonder if you have your baby in Miami if it's born with a BBL. Right, because Miami's just full of the lipo and the fake lips and the fake this and the fake everything. I wonder if it's just born like that immediately.
That'd be gross if it was. Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. This was also a clip that you'd shared with me and teased at
What
the
a
beginning of
racist.
the segment. The most racist president that we've ever had, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to the vitriol and the xenophobia spouted by 2006 Barack Obama.
One of the central components of immigration reform is enforcement, and this bill contains a number of important provisions to beef up border security. But that's not enough. Real enforcement also means drying up the pool of jobs that encourages illegal immigration, and that can only happen if employers don't hire illegal workers. Unfortunately, our current employer enforcement system does little to nothing to deter illegal immigrants from finding work. Just a few statistics. Overall, the number of workplace arrests of illegal immigrants fell from 17,552 in 1997 to 451 in 2002, even as illegal immigration grew during that time.
Oh, they took our jobs! They took your jobs! They took your jobs! Took your jobs!
Can you believe Barack Obama saying enforcement isn't enough? We need to go further. We need to prevent the employers from hiring the illegals on the scene. We need to punish those employers for flouting laws. What happened to that outlook from Democrats?
In 20 years, in less than 20 years, how did we get where we're at now? Where they want it
so
wide
far.
open, no voter ID, let everybody stay, everybody can, citizenship for all, blanket citizenship, amnesty. We are a far cry from what Barack Obama said less than 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Remember when he was talking about the people that jump to the front of the line? We do not approve that here in an orderly, organized America. What happened to that, Barack Obama? What happened to that Democrat Party? Bring that back.
I mean, Clinton before that, we're a nation, but we're a nation of laws. I mean, how many, at what point did the wheels fell off?
About 2015. It looks like 2015, 2016 is when Democrats jumped off a cliff, driven by TDS. Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. We've got more on the way, including Illinois' Governor J.B. Pritzker, who hates you, who hates the laborer, the working man, so much that he's willing to take a bite out of your paycheck just because he hates Donald Trump. We'll tell you more about that coming up in the next segment. Stay tuned to 93 WIBC. Ethan and Jerry on the radio.
As America celebrates 250 years, WIBC takes you inside the moments that built a nation.
The Spirit of 76. A 1-minute look at this day in the Revolution. The battles, debates, and turning points that transformed a collection of colonies into these United States.
Weekday mornings at 7:35 and 11:35, and afternoons at 3:35 and 6:35, or anytime on demand at WIBC.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Comprehensive cancer care is not just about treating cancer. It's caring for the person behind the diagnosis. It's our team by your side to listen, connect, and encourage, and to celebrate every milestone together. Because at Franciscan Health, your journey is our journey. Your victory is our victory. Your hope and trust in us to provide extraordinary cancer care with the latest advancements, plus a little extra TLC, is our mission. Learn more at franciscanhealth.org/cancercare.
Pat Sullivan here with Michaelis owner Richard Michaelis. Richard, what are signs that your home is telling you there's something wrong?
Hi, Pat. You're going to see cracks, musty smells, sticking doors, pooling water. That could mean there could be a foundation issue or a basement crawl space issue. If you see or smell something like this, call Michaelis for a free inspection.
Wow, I bet you're fun at parties. If you suspect there might be an issue, get peace of mind of knowing for sure. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. 844-FIX-INDY.
Life is expensive enough as it is. Your shower doesn't need to be. Switch to Suave Men 2-in-1 Body and Face Wash and realize the same clean as other brands for less. 80% of men agree Suave cleans just as well as the leading brands for half the price or less. Made right here in the USA. You know the difference between paying for quality and paying for a fancy bottle. Suave Men is quality without the unnecessary extras. Check out Suave Men 2-in-1 Body and Face Wash at Walmart for less than $5. What are you waiting for? Same clean, less cash.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to Metamucil.com for more details.
Hey, John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
This is 93 WIBC, the 9 to noon show with Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez on the radio. Thanks for tuning in and spending your time here with us this morning. Producer Kev on the board behind the producer's fishbowl, pushing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function, and a fantastic bumps of music selection as always. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hop on the YouTube machine, give us a like, share, and subscribe. Make your comments heard in the comments section as we do broadcast the show live. And at the end of the program, we're going to read the top YouTube comments of the day. It's when the listener becomes the star of the show for one brief shining, glorious moment. But this segment, we're going to discuss Governor Pritzker in his spite, in his deranged hate of Donald Trump. He's going to take you to the cleaner. Even if it means making your life easier, making your life better, improving your world just a smidgen, he's not going to do that if it means giving Donald Trump an iota of credit. In this case, relating to the no tax on tips. This was a story that you'd sent me, Jerry, where Governor Pritzker and the Illinois Democrats actively working against tax relief for their citizens. Who would have thought from the Illinois leftists?
One state Republican lawmaker is trying to push Illinois to have no taxes on tips. After the federal government approved no tax on tips, Illinois decoupled itself from some federal tax policies. That meant service workers' tips are still being taxed in this state. Representative Ryan Spain has been pushing for the measure for the last 10 months. He says Democrats shouldn't get in the way of a good idea.
Just because Donald Trump put an initiative forward to have no tax on tips and no taxes on overtime doesn't mean it's a bad idea. And so we have to get past this notion that if our political enemy comes up with an idea, we're going to do everything we can to oppose it.
A moderate Democrat has filed legislation to remove taxes on tips. Spain says he would support the legislation regardless of which lawmaker brings it to the finish line.
Do it.
This should be a no-brainer for any legislator, providing relief for the citizenry. And I kind of disagree with the way that the Donald Trump administration went about providing this tax relief, because I think it picks winners and losers in the economy when all need to be rewarded and all need to find relief. But look, if you're going to give relief to somebody, I'm glad that somebody's going to get it at the end of the day. And if it just turns out to be the service industry, I'm fine with that. Somebody needs to get a break.
Yeah, and listen, I understand why some people think there's winners and losers. If you're going to do no tax on tips, I don't have an issue with that. These people are paid, nominal wages, and almost tipping has become the salary, which I think goes against its initial premise, right? But how messed up?
I don't have a problem with tax on tips either, as long as you pay me in tips.
right. But how messed up is it for the governor to go, we're going to keep that tax?
It's so screwy. It's so messed up. It's a frightening and fascinating at the same time peek into the mindset of demented leftists who hate the Republicans and the president so much that they are willing to keep their citizens, their constituents, downtrodden and dejected just to spite the president. It's gross. It's so gross. The hyper-partisanship that the country has descended to. And look, I'm a critic of Donald Trump when I think he deserves it. I don't think this is one of those areas. He's come up with a good idea. We should be able to cooperate across the aisle.
And we'll get a chance to see it right here at home with the wheel tax.
Oh, boy.
Right?
Yeah.
Hogshead comes out and says no. Will the city council go, our citizens are going to pay a tax?
I mean, think about how insane that is when you actually have leftists who are fighting to overturn the mayor's veto. No, damn it, we need this tax.
Yeah.
Because they're unwilling to make cuts in other areas of government, from their cushy giveaways, from their Democrat circular money distribution system, where they launder that to these various city contract owners or city contract bearers who then funnel it back into Democrat fundraising institutions, and the cycle begins all over again. It's gross. It's a cesspool, but it's nothing less than what we've come to expect from the modern Democrat Party, I think. And that's very disappointing, Jerry. I think it's part of the problem that has driven the relative electoral stagnation here in Indiana. There is no competition because we know that the Democrats are just so damn crazy. It's so incompatible with most Hoosiers' worldview. They don't even stand a chance at the ballot box.
Yeah, but you use a term that almost doesn't exist anymore, moderate Democrat. That line for Democrat has moved so far left with the Mamdanis and the AOCs of the world, and the Jesse Browns here right at home. And I know we're going to get into it next, but these government-ran grocery stores, these free daycares, these free buses, these free everything that these socialists want to do, just continue to fall apart across the country, yet we continue to have socialists be on the ballot up and down, and down.
We've strayed so far from the lines of basic common sense that now even Barack Obama looks like a conservative by comparison. In only 20 years, I remember when he was basically the Antichrist to Republicans.
Yeah. Obama sounds like
now
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Days. Yeah, that was crazy. How far the political left has fallen in only 20 years. But you mentioned some of their disastrous giveaways, their cushy little giveaways, because of course, the socialists support this utopian ideal worldview of an infinite welfare state, but it doesn't work. And we see that shown time and time again. What was it? The government-ran grocery stores in Kansas City.
Yep.
They had to shut down, went bankrupt. Government-supported grocery stores in Chicago shutting down because it doesn't matter if the food is cheap, discounted, or even provided for free. These sticky fingers are walking away and robbing the shops blind, and they can't keep the doors open, even with millions and millions of dollars in government grants. This is a story from Fox out of Chicago.
Grocery stores, of course, are reaching out for private investment, but just don't take it from us. Take it from the Chicago residents who are dealing with it and impacted directly. Listen to this.
Going to be an impact on the community and people close nearby that they won't be able to get necessities and what they need at a convenience for them. So.
It's just opened up, now it's about to close down again. We have nothing, so I don't know what we're going to do. There's nothing around here.
I mean, it's going to affect the community for sure. Everybody going to have to travel out now to go to big grocery stores. And what about the people who don't got transportation that ain't able to make it to the big grocery stores?
It's a reasonable store in the neighborhood, The rest of them around here is so expensive.
So the city of Chicago ended up funding this grocery store. It's called Save a Lot. And there was a lot of investment into it. And yet, in a very short period of time, they had to close. There's multiple reasons why this happened. One is if you go online and you look up this particular store, this chain, you'll see a lot of TikTok videos of people stealing. So there was also a lot of theft going on.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
How did we begin this show, Jerry? By talking about a story. If you don't want to get shot by police, don't try stabbing police officers with a knife. Pretty easy. You'd be amazed at how drastically your odds of being shot by a police officer will decrease if you don't try stealing bikes, if you don't try checking cars, car doors to see if they're unlocked of parked vehicles, and you don't try and stab and brandish a knife at police officers. It's pretty simple. Your odds of getting shot will decrease. If you want to keep your grocery stores, don't steal from the store. This seems pretty common sense and obvious to me, Jerry. Why is it so hard for these people to figure it out? Like, oh my goodness, the store was robbed blind and now you're telling me it's closing up? Well, where am I going to get my groceries from? Should have thought of that when you were telling your friends.
I mean, I'll take it a step further. If you don't have issues with ICE, do what the old ICE told you. Just stop, collaborate, and listen. Like it's out there for everybody to know. This is not new theory here, right? I mean, do you remember the Summer of Love and all of a sudden everybody wants to know why Walgreens packed up and left the neighborhood? Why Target is no longer in our neighborhood? Why all of a sudden in 1 year, 2 years, we're calling this place now a food desert?
Yeah.
Well, it's because you've robbed every business that has come in.
And particularly during the Summer of Love, they weren't just robbing the businesses, they were burning them to the ground and then scratching their heads. Why isn't the Target rebuilding? You burnt them to the ground, you fools. You're, in this case, with the Save a Lot, you robbed them blind. And Save a Lot, we're not talking about, a very prestigious grocery store here. I've got a Save a Lot right around the corner from me, around the corner of Washington and Sherman Drive. I stop to buy from time to time because you can actually get money back on your groceries through Upside if you shop at the Save a Lot. So, I'll pick up my milk there, some Frosted Flakes there, a couple other odds and ends. But yeah, it's not doing too good. Their margins are already thin enough. And when you're walking out the door with free produce or free steaks or whatever else your sticky hands could get a hold of, then they're not going to stay in business for long. It's just, this is common sense. This is cause and effect. I think maybe they need to teach more of that in kindergarten and elementary schools.
Well, for sure. And I hate when people say, well, the business has insurance, right? A lot of these times, these are franchise owners. These are people that are coming out of pocket. And the same way that we're seeing prices affect us through inflation, they're affecting that small business owner as well.
I'm glad you mentioned the insurance in particular. I was also going to go that direction because the insurance is just reimbursement and usually not full reimbursement either. You are losing that money up front. And with no guarantee of restitution on the back end from insurance, you gotta invest the money to buy the replacements, to process the insurance claim, and only a few months down the road do you possibly get a payment that still doesn't represent the full value of what was lost. So, I mean, the insurance, they have insurance excuse is just such a limp-wristed argument from people who are just trying to justify their own proclivity for kleptomania. What else is there to be said, Jerry?
Nothing. You said it perfectly.
Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. I'm Ethan Hatcher. That's Jerry Lopez. We've had producer Kev on the board. Coming up next, another unforgettable edition of WIBC News brought to you by Jake McDaniel. Stay tuned for that.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It'll be hot and humid, but that's not all. We're now up to 80 degrees, and you've got cloudy skies in the Circle City. I'm Jake McDaniel. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Along with the heat, forecasters are tracking the chance for storms across parts of Indiana today.
We're currently tracking a complex of storms all the way up in northern Wisconsin, and that is expected to push all the way down into central Indiana this afternoon. And with that, there is going to be a risk of damaging winds.
Aaron Updike at the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says the area is under a slight risk for severe storms, and main threats include damaging winds. Police looking for another person in Seattle in connection to a fatal shooting at a festival over the weekend.
Police say 2 people began shooting at each other Sunday. 7 festival goers hit in the crossfire.
We have a total of 3
fatalities. Seattle Assistant Police Chief Tyrone Davis, one of the injured, a 2-year-old boy. A suspect was arrested after the shooting. Another suspect fled the scene.
Fox's Jeff Manasso reporting. And the Gordie Howe International Bridge opening today. It's over the Detroit River between the U.S. and Canada. I'm Jake McDaniel on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Are you looking for a great deal on a certified pre-owned vehicle? Well, we've got them at Tom Roush Lincoln and Fishers.
Choose from a great selection of Lincoln certified pre-owned Nautilus, Aviator, Corsair, and Navigator, all with the confidence of a 6-year, 100,000-mile comprehensive warranty coverage. Get rates as low as 1.99% on qualifying Lincoln certified pre-owned models.
So upgrade to that Lincoln luxury at Tom Roush Lincoln and Fishers.
Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Your home is making an impression. Chipped paint, tired colors. Is it the right one? You need Spartan Construction Group. With over 20 years experience painting homes, they'll get the job done right the first time and often by up to 50% less than your traditional paint job. And with a 7-year warranty. Call 317-649-5266 or Google Spartan Construction and get 20% off now. That's right, 20% for all your exterior needs. Spartan Construction Group. Painting exteriors, transforming impressions.
At My Eye Doctor, we're here to help you see your best and find your style. Whether you need new contacts, an updated prescription, or designer frames, your local My Eye Doctor team will help you find the right fit. And because your vision can change over time, annual eye exams are an important part of protecting your long-term eye health. We welcome all insurance plans, and for a limited time, get a complete pair of glasses starting at just $95. Visit myeyedr.com to schedule your eye exam today.
Indiana Tech gave these grads more than just a degree.
I earned an engineering degree that taught me to succeed in technical roles and in life.
I got the chance to work for a professional sports team with a winning experience thanks to flexible online classes.
Any school can give you a degree, but with over 100 career-focused certificates and degrees to choose from, Indiana Tech can give you the opportunity of a lifetime. Learn more at online.indianatech.edu.
Registration for the next class session ends August 14th.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one, the only 93 WIBC, the 9 to noon show with Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez. This segment, we're diving into a very important, relevant topic for the very ongoing nature of election integrity. Of course, I'm referring to the passage of the SAFE Act, particularly after the shocking revelation last week from New Jersey that they had what they claim was accidentally, I'm using air quotes there, I hope you can hear them through the radio, accidentally signed up 6,600 illegal non-citizen voters to participate in our elections. These are the same people who say, election integrity isn't necessary. It's not even happening at a massive scale. You're literally signing up thousands of non-citizens to participate in the election. That sounds massive fraud to me.
Well, and then you want Abby Phillip to be on CNN to argue with you on what the definition of what your word massive is. And it's crazy. I mean, they said not one, that this is not happening. This is not happening anywhere. Voter ID is unnecessary. There's already rules on the books. Elizabeth Warren ran around just trying to escape this reporter saying, we don't need laws. We already have laws. And how did 6,600 people, and if that's the number being reported, trust me, it's got to be a lot higher, and that's just in New Jersey.
And they're trying to downplay the significance of this by saying that it didn't alter the outcome of any elections that they know about. But this is a very real consideration, Jerry, when you got examples just like Spencer Deary right here in the Hoosier homeland, who won his election by how many? 3 votes?
Yeah.
So you're telling me that 400 votes, 400 illegal votes in the system isn't a big deal? I don't think so. This is a massive deal, Jerry.
Yeah, we need to get this fixed for all Americans, not just for people on the right or people on the left. For all of us, we need to protect the integrity of our elections.
But now the left is forced to play defense on this issue, and now is the time for the Republicans to go on the offense and keep the pressure up, because this is already a majority issue, a majority of both parties, Republicans and Democrats, across racial demographics, white, Black, Hispanic, Asian, or anywhere in between, support voter ID for election integrity, as any citizen of America should. Here's CNN, who humiliated Hakeem Jeffries over the issue of voter fraud, and listen to him scramble and try and justify, oh, well, it's not a big deal.
Your next-door neighbor, New Jersey, just disclosed that 6,600 non-citizens were mistakenly registered to vote there from 2023 to 2024. 400 of them actually voted in elections since then. 400. It is a small number compared to the 7 million voters in New Jersey, and there's no evidence that swayed any election. But this is one of the most significant disclosures of non-citizen registration. Now, Democrats have repeatedly said that non-citizen voting doesn't happen. It happened. Is this a problem?
I think that I continue to have confidence in state and local authorities in making sure that there's going to be a free and fair election in November.
All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
What do you mean you have confidence in the states to maintain free and fair elections? This is your example, my guy.
Color me surprised that Timu Barack Obama doesn't have anything other than a catchphrase. All he knew is he wanted to say free and fair elections. The problem is exactly what you just stated. How is it fair if 400 people are voting that shouldn't be voting at all?
It's not fair, is the dirty little secret, of course. And Democrats are being put on the defense and trying to formulate exactly how best is to respond. And now, of course, they're moving the goalposts, where once they said that these illegal registrations aren't even happening and these illegal votes are just a figment of the Republicans' imagination, now they're moving the goalposts slightly and they're saying, well, okay, voter ID is fine, but let's just keep it at the state level. It's just the state level. State solution. We definitely don't need to be passing the SAVE Act. No. This, according to the Democrat Tim Kaine, former governor of Virginia.
The Wall Street Journal editorial board, after this report this week, says New Jersey's screw-up is another reminder that illegal voting isn't a myth, and vigilance is important. I know in the Commonwealth, because I voted there many times, Virginia has voter ID. Is that something we should be discussing for everyone?
You know, and New Jersey has voter ID as well, Shannon, and this was a very unfortunate glitch. Importantly, it wasn't that individuals were trying to vote illegally. There was a computer glitch that when they registered for driver's licenses and said they were non-citizens, the glitch got them mistakenly classified as citizens and registered them to vote. And about 400 did vote in the 4 million New Jersey residents who voted in 2024. I think the right answer here is voter ID laws passed at the state level. As you know, Virginia has a voter ID law.
No! You have the nerve to show your face around here? You're a disgrace!
No, Tim Kaine. You already had your opportunity to solve this problem with statewide voter ID for a long time now, multiple years. In fact, the majority of states have already solved this issue, but the Democrat, law abusers, lawbreakers, have been flouting this rule in places like California and Illinois and New York, etc., ad nauseum, and now it's time to solve it at the national level, at the federal level. And this is the smoking gun we've all been waiting for. Democrats know what bad news this is when we can see with our own eyes and hear with our own ears the illegal fraud that was allowed to take place in New Jersey and elsewhere, because as I'm sure, as you mentioned, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, and the reason they're not worried about the state level is because the state already knows how to fix that game, right? I think California's got it down. Minnesota's got it down. Sure, New York and a lot of other states have it down. But when it comes to the federal game, it's a lot harder because Electoral College. So we need to make sure we can play with all these numbers.
And isn't it amazing how these accidents, again, using air quotes, always seem to benefit the Democrat Party? It's very convenient how that
never a
seems
vote
to work
dump
out.
in the middle of the night that goes our way.
Yeah, never, thousands of mail-in ballots that suddenly propel the Republican like Spencer Pratt to victory, across the finish line in the mayor's race.
That's weird how they all came in for the same lady.
That's crazy. Crazy how that works. You also have active saboteurs who are participating in our government and seeking to influence from the inside. Here was a speech that was delivered in Somalian by our own Representative Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman out of Minnesota, declaring where her loyalties lie and perhaps shedding light on why election integrity is more vital now than ever before, as we have third world foreigners flooding our shores and then being appealed to by people like this.
waagteeda waxay ahayd dowladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii anaga aan dhahno dowladda Mareykanka qabo waa kalsoonidaas inaan isku qabno anaga Soomaali hadii aan nahay wadankan anaga ku nool wadankan wadankii aan anaga tax ka dhiibno waaye waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne ee Congress-ka fadhiso intii aniga aan Congress joogo wadanka Soomaaliya biyaheeda dad kaleeta iyo badeeda dad kale ma qaadanayaan wadanka Mareykankana kuma taageerayo dad kaleeta in anaga ayna dhacaan
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here! Get the out of my room!
That's not Mogadishu, ladies and gentlemen. That's Minnesota.
Yeah, and here's the part that you didn't understand. Let me tell you what she actually said there. The U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders.
Wow.
I am here to protect the interests of Somalia from inside the U.S. system.
Up, there we go. Whose interest is she protecting? Somalia's interest. Who is she supposed to be representing
the
in
United
the Congress?
States.
Right. But that's not what's going on here. And this is why election integrity is more vital now than ever before, because these are the people that Democrats want to import so that they can put their thumb on the scales and shift things in their favor. It's open corruption and fraud put on display for all to see. And it's disgusting. It should revolt literally every American who bears witness to this. Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. Stay tuned. We got more conversation on the way, including an incredible discovery from a 19-year-old thrifter who was shopping in Portland, Oregon, and made a discovery for the ages, let's just say. This is the kind of stuff that thrifting dreams are made of. And look, as somebody who avidly collects antiques, I love to hear stories like this. I think it's a bit of an uplifting tale, and we'll share it with you on the way right here on 93 WIBC. So stay tuned for that story coming up next.
Hammer and Nigel show. Nobody has more fun on the radio than we do. Find out for yourself. We cracked the mic at 3:06 this afternoon.
Do you have trouble understanding people on the telephone?
Nearly 48 million Americans have some form of hearing loss.
If you're hard of hearing, you know it. Believe me, I knew it too.
That's where Relay Indiana comes in. With trained relay operators and free assistive equipment, phone calls are clear, easy, and stress-free.
It changed my life considerably.
No more repeating, no more missed words, just real conversations.
Relay Indiana has a website, relayindiana.com. You will be able to download the application link.
Learn more today at relayindiana.com.
I tell everyone that I know about it because it is really a great service to people who lack the ability to hear. Frankly, I can't imagine being without it.
RelayIndiana.com. That's RelayIndiana.com. And stay connected.
I walk out in our garage and I'm going, I love this floor. I just love it.
That's your neighbor Kay, and she's talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation.
Our neighbors in our former home had heard of Galaxy and had their garage floor done. We went over and absolutely fell in love with it and said, that's what we want to do.
And Galaxy Concrete Coatings is not epoxy. It's 4 times stronger.
The crew, well, the guys were polite. They were so efficient. They would explain what they were doing and why they were doing it. It was really a very easy process.
Commercial or residential, Galaxy transforms pools, patios, garage floors, and driveways in as little as 1 day, and it comes with a lifetime warranty.
My personal recommendation that they'll never regret it if they go with Galaxy, and their product is beyond belief in my opinion.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook.
We'll never have another house that doesn't have a Galaxy garage floor.
We're out of this world.
What makes Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus different? They offer the same Tempur-Pedic and Stearns & Foster mattresses as all the other guys. But what the other guys don't offer is Thompson Furniture and Mattresses prices, customer service, and free delivery, which saves you hundreds, if not thousands. It's Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Get the best prices, the best service, free delivery, and interest-free financing options available on everything at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, now through Monday during their Made in the USA sale.
At My Eye Doctor, we're here to help you see your best and find your style. Whether you need new contacts, an updated prescription, or designer frames, your local My Eye Doctor team will help you find the right fit. And because your vision can change over time, annual eye exams are an important part of protecting your long-term eye health. We welcome all insurance plans, and for a limited time, get a complete pair of glasses starting at just $95. Visit MYEYEDR.com to schedule your eye exam today.
Batter up, Indiana. From home runs to hometown fun, the Indiana State Fair is knocking summer out of the park. There's so much to see and do. From classic fair favorites to can't-miss new treats. Up-close agriculture and live music and entertainment. August 7th through the 23rd, closed Mondays. Don't wait for the gate. Discount tickets on sale now. The Indiana State Fair, always a hit. Presented by the Indianapolis Indians.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil, one simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to Metamucil.com for more details.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Set sail for a night of smooth hits and good vibes. Yacht Rock Review is coming to Ruoff Music Center on Saturday, September 12th. Get your tickets now at WIBC.com.
We're having a heck of a fun morning here on 93 WIBC. Thanks for spending your hours with us. Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez with producer Kev behind the producer's fishbowl, pushing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function. If you haven't done so already, hop on the YouTube machine, give us a like, share, subscribe, help promote the station, show the management that you like what you're hearing on the air. Feel free to comment in the chat while we're broadcasting live. And at the end of the show, we're going to read the best YouTube comments of the day where the listener becomes the star of the program for one brief shining moment. But this segment wanted to discuss a man who was very, very fortunate to discover a lost artifact of sportsbasketball at none other than a Portland Goodwill.
Maybe the greatest thrift store find of all time. Quinn Brown, 19 years old, has resold thousands of items online over the years, most for less than $20. But earlier this year, going through the bins at a Goodwill near Portland, Oregon, he noticed this. Somehow or another, NBA great Wilt Chamberlain's Lakers warm-up jacket from the 72 NBA Finals had ended up for sale in Oregon for $3.07.
Oh, my God.
The really key moment for me was I was in my room, and I looked at the measurements of the jacket. Wilt Chamberlain being 7'1", the jacket measured 33 inches long, so would have gone down almost to my knees. I looked at it and it matched up.
Smart kid. When Brown posted his discovery online, Sotheby's reached out, helped with the forensic investigation, matching the stitches on the jacket to old pictures of it, and then put it up for auction. And that $3 thrift store find just sold for nearly $90,000, putting the jacket into the pantheon of bargain finds, including a Declaration of Independence copy found at a flea market, and this 1,000-year-old Chinese bowl sold at a garage sale, both worth millions, by the way. As for Brown, he says he plans to put most of his windfall into savings, but also celebrate by taking what he calls a cheap vacation to Vietnam.
How does a championship jacket find its way to the Goodwill? But good on this kid for recognizing what he had there. I mean, you got to figure a jacket by somebody as large as Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, it's less of a jacket, more like a blanket.
Yeah, no, that thing would have been huge. Imagine the amount of hands that thing touched before it ended up in his possession. That many people just passed on this jacket.
Would have been floating around for, what they say, it was 1970, so like 50 years. Something like 50 years out in the ether waiting to be discovered. That's so cool. I love stories like this. Have you ever found anything interesting, unusual for bargain finds in your own thrifting adventures across the Hoosier heartland?
No, but I did go to an antique shop one time, and I really like the old books. I can find the old Mark Twain and all the old Edgar Allan Poe sets, and I'm very fascinated by the old authors.
Yeah, I like
now,
purchasing.
you have some really cool stuff. We actually saw each other this weekend. You just picked up a new piece of the Egyptian thing that I thought was very interesting.
Yes, I picked up ancient Egyptian Ushabti, probably 2,000 to 3,000 years old. Of course, that was already identified. Probably my coolest thrift store find, and I'm never going to get this lucky again, was when I was walking through Pennsylvania with an antique dealer friend of mine, and he just happened to be passing by this showcase, and he kind of did a double take, and he points and he looks at that, and he said, "Hey, Ethan, does that look like antique bronze to you, ancient bronze to you?" And I look over there, and it's this dagger that's a mottled spotty green, and I said, "Well, holy crap. That does look like ancient bronze to me." And check the price, and they only wanted $100 on it. Not only that, it was on a discount day. They were offering a 20% discount, which meant that I got that dagger for $80. Long story short, after much investigation, I ended up shipping it to a laboratory and an ancient antiques dealer in Colorado, Artemis, who ran a spectroscopic analysis on the composition of the dagger and verified that it is a 2,000-year-old Han Dynasty Chinese dagger. Now, how you had a bronze dagger, a very highly quality craftsmanship, made its way from China to Pennsylvania in the course of 2,000 years would be such a fascinating story to hear. But these items do turn up from time to time. You just got to keep your eye open.
What is one of the coolest things you've ever seen? Maybe that's not in your possession, but something you've just seen out and about, like, oh my goodness, or even a part of somebody's personal collection.
One of the coolest things that I remember seeing from the Heartland Antique Festival a few years ago in Richmond, Indiana, was a monastic honeypot. Beekeeping was often taken care of by like monasteries back in the day, especially in England, where candle making was strictly controlled, highly regulated and taxed, etc. So that was taken care of by a lot of monasteries. And this particular monastery, like dated back to, I think the dealer said it was the 1600s, and they made honeypots. And this was one of the honeypots that survived. And
1600s.
1800s, and a piece of clay, no less, that had survived its way for more than 400 years. So that's been a piece that was well taken care of. And just the craftsmanship and the artistry, I think, was cool. It's also, a peek back into our past, into what we lived through in the medieval times, and the kind of connection that you can get. He let me touch it, by the way, which was really cool. The kind of connection that you can get with your past by making, that physical touch. It takes you to the place where these people were, and I love holding objects like that and kind of being transported through time in my own way.
I mean, I think it's super cool to hear about. Also, anytime I get a chance to see anything older than my country, really just kind of piques my interest. And we're, 250 years? We're not that old, just 1600.
Yeah, drop in the bucket comparatively. Yeah. Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. This has been Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez on the radio. But don't go anywhere just yet, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got another jam-packed hour of fun on the way. And also, at the end of the show, we'll be reading best YouTube comments of the day. Don't miss it. Keep those dials locked to 93 WIBC.
If you're experiencing burning, tingling, or numbness in your feet, don't ignore it. These are common signs of neuropathy, a condition that causes nerve damage in the feet and legs. Left untreated, neuropathy can lead to serious complications, including muscle cramps, balance issues, and even permanent nerve damage.
Symptoms like numbness, tingling, and burning sensations can quickly progress, making it harder to walk and even stand. If you're dealing with any of these, it's crucial to act before any of these conditions worsen. Neuropathy is treatable if caught early. At Nexus Neuro, we've helped thousands of patients improve their condition by addressing nerve damage early on. If left untreated, neuropathy can lead to dependence on walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations.
Don't wait. Call 463-400-FEET to schedule your free neuropathy nerve damage screening. Early intervention can make all the difference. The first 25 callers will receive this screening at no cost, but space is limited. Call 463-400-FEET, 463-400-3338. Take control of your well-being today.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Marty Corpus, business manager of Labor's Local 120. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We are all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Since the day I got to Indianapolis, if I had a problem with my garage door, I called Garage Doors of Indianapolis because they can take care of the problem the same day. And when it's time to replace my garage door, it will be Garage Doors of Indianapolis because they've got the great selection and the team to make sure it's installed right the first time. Talk to Garage Doors of Indianapolis. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 875-4577. Online at doorstoday.com. Doorstoday.com.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is Denny Smith. Are you tired of lugging salt and fighting rust stains? Well, trade in your old system and save up to $500. Call 463-200-SOFT or visit cnjwater.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Price Point Comfort Mitsubishi Electric Studios, the type of weather expected today and later this work week across Indiana. A ceremony that happened in Indianapolis this morning, you'll hear why, and what firefighters know so far about a vacant home fire in Indianapolis early this morning. Those stories next after Fox News on 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1, Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Where is he? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is the question in Seattle, where police keep searching for a second gunman in last night's shooting at a food festival near the Space Needle.
Everyone got scared. Pushing each other, running over signs. The booth where we were at got kind of almost demolished.
The Bite of Seattle festival at Seattle Center turning to chaos and bloodshed after police say 2 people began shooting at each other Sunday. 7 festival goers hit in the crossfire.
We have a total of 3 fatalities out of those 7 victims. This is a tragedy.
Seattle Assistant Police Chief Tyrone Davis, one of the injured, a 2-year-old boy. 2 guns recovered. A suspect was arrested after the shooting. Another suspect fled the scene.
That's Fox's Jeff Manasso. Also last night in Germany, a terror suspect was shot dead the day after attacking a pride parade in Berlin.
A van rammed into a crowd of people gathered in a park in the center of the city, marking one of Europe's biggest LGBTQ celebrations, leaving 1 dead and 29 injured Saturday night. The suspect also used what was believed to be a machete to do even more damage. The suspect, a 21-year-old German citizen called Abdul B by police of Lebanon origin, was shot and killed by police, cornered in another part of Berlin after a nearly 24-hour manhunt.
Fox's Greg Palcott. Israel's prime minister is on a flight to Washington, where tomorrow at the White House, Benjamin Netanyahu will talk about Iran with President Trump, who's paused military strikes with no bombing a 3rd straight night, following 13 straight days of attacks. Netanyahu tells Fox the conflict will end
when this regime is either toppled or it's sufficiently weakened that it knows it has to end its nuclear program and has to change its course.
Oil prices are down more than 6%, something President Trump might tout later today when he goes to Michigan and visits a GM plant and speaks about the economy and campaigns for Republicans before primaries there next week. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Today is the day this week you'll want to be the most weather aware. Right now, 82 and cloudy in the Circle City. I'm Jake McDaniel. This report is brought to you by Window Nation. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Storms this afternoon between 1 and 7. Forecasters say the main threat is damaging winds, but a tornado cannot be ruled out.
The main risk is going to be those damaging wind gusts of 60 to upwards of 80 miles per hour. Most of it would be more in that 60 range, but we can't rule out some higher wind gusts depending on how organized the system is as it comes through.
Aaron Updike at the National Weather Service Indianapolis says tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday are supposed to be dry. Indianapolis Public Schools expanding Crispus Attucks High School. It's a nearly $45 million expansion anchored by a $25 million investment from IU Health.
For several years, we have joined IPS to train future healthcare workers. The Crispus Attucks Fellows Program gives dozens of high school students hands-on training that sets them on a path towards a career in the healthcare field.
IU Health CEO Dennis Murphy speaking at a ceremony this morning. The project will feature 4 specialty classrooms and a health academy lab, among other things. An Indianapolis firefighter taken to a hospital after being injured while putting out a fire at a vacant home this morning.
He is in stable condition and he is expected to be okay. I'm going to let you take a look at what I'm seeing here at the scene. There are about 4 or so firefighters in the house treating those hot spots, and they told me they're going to be on the scene here for several more hours investigating the cause into the fire. IFD tells me they originally got the call around 4:30 this morning.
And that's Fox 59 Tana Fulman. The fire happened on the near east side of Indy, near Washington Street and Willard Park. Investigators discovered a body in the lake of France Park in Logansport over the weekend. They say that person was swimming with family, and family members couldn't find that adult when they got out of the water. Indiana DNR officials say recreational divers found that person Sunday, who was taken to a hospital and died. And you're paying an average of $3.49 a gallon of gas in Indiana today, says AAA. I'm Jake McDaniel, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez coming up in 1 minute. It's 11:04.
Using chat to research your next home improvement project? Forget all the prompts, okay? I've got all the details on a company you can trust. For replacement windows and doors without the hassle, just look up Window Nation. They're the real deal. Homeowners across the country love the one-day installation process, especially since Window Nation installers leave your home cleaner than when they started. This month, you can get 50% off all window styles, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. That's a whole lot of savings on top-quality windows and doors.
Window Nation backs each window with a lifetime transferable warranty. That's on top of team members double and triple checking their work from initial measurements to the final installation. Reach out to Window Nation today to get the windows featured on HD TV's Designing Spaces. This month, you could save 50% on all window styles, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments until 2028. Get a free quote at windownation.com. It's windownation.com. Window Nation is the real deal when it comes to replacement windows and doors.
Stop me if you've heard this before. Woman makes donation to Act Blue that she says she didn't actually make. And we're talking about an amount of money that this lady has not seen probably in her lifetime. Welcome back to WIBC. My name's Jerry Lopez. Ethan Hatcher sitting over there. We have hit the final hour already, Ethan.
I can't believe how fast the time has gone, but you know what they say? Time flies when you're having fun, and we've had so much fun on the morning show today, Jerry. I've had a blast hosting it with you.
Definitely. Hey, and just a reminder, get in the YouTube chat. Post those comments, the best ones coming up in the final segment. Let's start right here at home, though. How many times have you heard Joe Biden had to be influenced by somebody? Somebody had to be pulling the strings. Hunter Biden was on the Burisma board. What the heck's he doing on this board? A crackhead selling paintings for $200,000. Well, now we have somebody saying maybe he was being blackmailed by China.
And not just anybody. This is an investigative journalist by the name of Catherine Herridge.
What we saw in the release of the records, which I think in the media or legacy media, there was kind of a willful blindness. They didn't want to look at the records. All you had to do was spend a couple of hours. I found these records, which are talking about blackmail by China. It was for President Biden's daily brief. I can conclude, I think, that it was probably about targeting his family. When that kind of information is not reaching a decision maker, ultimately the United States and the American people are the losers. Right. And I think that's what people need to be focused on.
And it's dangerous as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're not getting into it.
So we've all heard about the 10% that goes to the big guy.
Yep.
And now we're finding out who was footing that bill to begin with. It's the Chi-Coms. Should this surprise anybody, Jerry?
No, we're just finally getting names to the people
Correct.
that we already believed existed.
Correct. So much about what we're finding out during the Trump administration is not revelations as such that nobody has suspicion before, but rather confirmation of many of the things that anybody who's been paying attention has already known, but that Democrats and the lamestream media were unwilling to reveal.
And it seems like it's all coming out from the illegals voting to Joe Biden being blackmailed to Dr. Fauci. Everything is coming out.
And now we're finding out more about campaign finance fraud. We've often discussed, like on Saturday Night in the Circle, a concept that I've referred to as the circular distribution of cash, and how often this concept shows up when it comes to government and when it comes to the grants and the finances. It's just a big circular distribution. In this case, Act Blue appears to be behaving as a money laundering organization for the Democrat Party and making erroneous, fraudulent financial disclosures, as was revealed by another investigative journalist there in Michigan, who found Act Blue had claimed an 88-year-old woman had donated more than $150,000 across 5 years, but with one problem being that she's living in a trailer park. She don't have that kind of money. She doesn't even have internet most of the time. So how's she's making these donations to Act Blue?
It says here that you've donated $150,000 in the last 5 years to various campaigns, and that you've made nearly 15,000 donations.
I doubt it.
Want to see it?
15,000, yeah.
15,000 separate donations on the computer. Did you make 15,000 donations in 5 years? $150,000?
150? Hell no. I don't have that kind of money.
Do you have internet?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
Do you have a computer?
No,
No? So how could you make all these donations?
I don't know. Are these all mine?
Yes. Now, there's 900 pages. I ran out of paper.
900 pages.
Shenanigans! Shenanigans!
What's all this?
Officer Bob Brady, I would like to reinstate my previous shenanigans.
Well, that settles it. Everybody grab a broom. It's shenanigans!
900 pages of donations, all allegedly made from the same woman, amounting to $150,000. Sounds like, to me, these people are creating a fraudulent paper trail to give the illusion of legitimacy when, in fact, they are the levers behind the power. They're pushing around the money that's likely garnered through illicit sources in order to fundraise and funnel cash toward their leftist goals. I mean, this is some truly shocking stuff, Jerry.
I mean, it's not really shocking at all. It's just shocking now.
It's shocking to the conscience.
Well, 100%. It is. And here's the reality. We need to audit Act Blue
immediately. And this is something that the Congress has already been sniffing out for a period of time at this point. Remember the confrontation between Jim Jordan and the Act Blue CEO? I think this was just a couple months, or last month, I'm sorry, in June, when he was confronting Act Blue over their foreign fundraising sources, and the CEO refused to acknowledge or answer any of the questions that were being posed by Congress. This interaction seems a little sus, as the kids would say, to me, Jerry.
Your board chairman said Act Blue accepted up to 38 million contributions in 2024 that had the signs of foreign origin. How much fraud is too much fraud?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How many foreign contributions did Act Blue accept?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How much money did Act Blue accept from Russia?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Why did your entire legal team quit?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Did your legal team quit because of reduced fraud standards?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
I understand. We won't keep you here all day, but let me just do one more. Did you weaken your fraud standards to help Democrats?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
He's guilty! You can see it on his smug little face! Guilty! I say guilty! Guilty! No!
So, yeah, I think the time has come to audit Act Blue. We need to be taking a serious look at this, especially when you have leadership, the CEO, that was Regina Wallace-Jones, refusing to answer congressional queries regarding the legitimacy and the nature of their fundraising operations, who these funds are actually coming from, which foreign entities could be distributing cash, and to what ends are they attempting to influence elections through these Democrat fundraising sources. I mean, these are legitimate questions, frightening questions, and one that certainly merits more investigation following the revelation that perhaps the election disclosures, the fundraising disclosures they've made in the state of Michigan for this candidate, Abdul Al-Sayed, for Senate there in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
The 88-year-old with 900 pages worth of 15,000 individual donations that appear to have been generated fraudulently. Yeah, I think it's time to pull the lid off this operation and start taking a closer look. When they are auditing small business owners, when they are scrutinizing...
They're auditing your Venmo for $600.
Yeah, for this and that. And they are getting way more than $600. through these potential foreign fundraising sources, but now we got to know.
And she's well within her right to sit up there in front of Congress and repeat that statement over and over and over. But it is a bad look. It is a very bad look.
It is a terrible look. I mean, I know it's not supposed to,
I mean, there's some play upstairs. She could have just said, no, we did not lower the standards for Democrats.
I think it may have been better to just blow off the subpoena and wait for you to get dragged in by the House man-at-arms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was super
Risk a
bad
little jail
look.
time. No, yeah, that is terrible press. But they're running on the defense. Their entire legal team resigned.
Yeah.
When is that a good sign? When is it a good sign when your lawyers turn tail and run and say, we ain't touching this smoke. We don't want none of this.
Yeah, she needs Ben Crump.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. This has been Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez on the radio. Make sure not to forget, hop on the YouTube machine, like, share, subscribe. Also, make your comments heard in the chat. And at the end of the show, we'll be reading best YouTube comments of the day. Coming up next, a historical marker in downtown Indianapolis has been vandalized. We'll tell you the reasons behind that. Coming up next, a report from the Indy Star. Don't miss it. This is 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Good for Sophie Cunningham from your Indiana Fever. I want to protect young girls in a locker room who shouldn't have to go against a biological man.
And I think it's ridiculous that that's viewed as a hot take, being a female in sports, to say it's not okay for a dude to be playing against girls and dressing in the locker room with them.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
In racing, performance and reliability mean everything. Hi, I'm Alan Jr., two-time Indianapolis 500 winner. At George's Pharmacy and Medical Equipment, they deliver more than just equipment. They deliver independence. From everyday, durable medical equipment to advanced respiratory services, they've got you covered. Trust the team that puts you in the driver's seat. George's Pharmacy and Medical Equipment.
Visit George's Pharmacy and Medical Equipment today, where care meets performance.
Come join the Radio 1 team as a part-time promotions assistant to represent our stations at community events and concerts. If you love public events, this could be the perfect summer job for you. Apply at urban1.com/careers. Must have a valid driver's license. Radio 1 is an equal opportunity employer.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil, one simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to metamucil.com for more details.
Hey, honey, take your blood pressure medication.
Thanks, dear.
Daddy, are you going to the hospital again?
No, son. Bad medication from a dishonest website got me sick. Now we only use sites approved by NABP or that end in .pharmacy, so we know they're safe.
Learn more about the new .pharmacy domain and ordering medications safely online at safe.pharmacy. A public service from the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
'93 WIBC. The 9 to noon show with Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez. Producer Kev pushing those buttons, doing the things to make the show function. Another fantastic bump music selection, by the way. No, keep the Freebird up. Pull it up, man. Yeah. Rocking and flying free here on 93 WIBC. I love classic rock. I can't get enough of this. But unfortunately, we have to because we're not a music station. And this isn't Tony Katz's music moment. So none of that. This isn't the 9 to noon show. Ethan Atcher and Jerry Lopez. This segment wanted to discuss some downtown vandalism that has happened. State police are investigating this. A report from the Indy Star about a historical marker that was right on Monument Circle, right outside the MS offices, as a matter of fact.
I was wondering if that's what this was, the big one that's right there, literally right outside the door.
Yeah, right when you used to exit the hallowed, fabled MS Communications building on Monument Circle, where WIBC was headquartered for about almost 30 years, from 1998 to 2022. Right outside the front entrance there was a historical marker that commemorated the first gay pride event in Indianapolis history. And according to a report by the Indy Star, it ain't there no more. It's gone. It was vandalized.
Hi, I'm John Tufts with Indy Star. Visitors to downtown Indianapolis at Monument Circle might notice that one of the city's historical markers is missing. Specifically, the historical marker commemorating the city's first pride event. We reached out to the Indiana State Police to learn that on the early hours of July 16th, the sign was found damaged. And here it is, where it used to be. Now, the sign wasn't stolen. As it turns out, it was found near the marker. The Indiana Historical Society, we're told, has taken possession of the sign for safekeeping until it can be repaired. Indiana State Police tell us that the Capitol Police are investigating the incident.
This will not stand, This aggression will not stand, man.
So you can see the footage on closed-circuit television where a couple of knuckle draggers are making their way on Monument Circle, and lo, behold, they see a sign, they see words, and the words that are printed on the sign, they make them feel very angry. And instead of dealing with their feelings like responsible, well-behaved adults, instead, they vandalize the sign, rock it back and forth until it finally falls. They attempt to carry it out, but realize that, hey, it's made of metal, and this is very heavy, and we need to get out of Dodge very quickly, so they just leave it strewn on the sidewalk. And, Jerry, I don't care what the content of the sign is, this historical marker. I feel the same way about this as I felt about the Confederate monuments that got vandalized and pulled down by all these angry activists during the Summer of Love. You can't change history. Yeah. Jerry, and look, like it or dislike it, it was the site of the state's or the city's first major gay pride event, and that's just a historical fact. You don't have to approve of it. You don't have to disapprove of it. It is a historical event, and it happened here.
Yeah, I think one of the key benchmarks for being an adult is not letting things like this tick you off, right? I have way more bigger issues than some sign. Whether or not I agree with what the sign stands for or not, it doesn't matter. It's not really part of my day-to-day, and I'm not going to see something mess it up the same way I felt really about the whole rainbow flag in the street. Did I agree with it? No. Do I care? No. Do I think it's silly if you get mad if people start burning tires on there? Shouldn't have put it on the street. I don't know what to tell you.
It's the same thing that I was saying to these protesters during the Summer of Love. Show me on the doll where the Confederate monument hurt you. Show me on the doll where this historical marker in downtown Indianapolis hurt you. Was it really grating on your consciousness and your soul so much you had to march down and vandalize the sign? And if it's for something that you don't support, presumably these people are opposed to gay pride and the celebration of sexual identity. And look, we can have that debate, but if you are opposed to these things, guess what? More money is now going to be directed to fix this sign that you vandalized. So you have inadvertently directed more fundraising and more support to the institutions and the entities that you oppose as a direct result of your childish display of emotions.
Yeah, at least when the left was doing it during the Summer of Love, they were trying to rewrite their own history, right? By getting rid of these Confederate people and these slave owners and these racists that used to run the left.
We can't remember that those were Democrats. Let's tear it down.
Exactly. In this case, listen, as conservatives, we're all about rights, live and let live. So whether you're gay or not is none of my business. And if you have a sign up that says this is where we first had the first parade, then commemorate it. I don't care. I'm a grown man with bigger problems.
Maybe these individuals who tore down the sign were feeling confused. They read the sign about gay pride and, maybe felt a tingle downstairs and said, oh no, that makes me feel uncomfortable. Gotta rake the sign and take it down. Yeah. I don't want to confront these feelings. I want to go away, bad thoughts.
You touched the sign, now you're gay.
So
how stupid. I wonder how much this is going to cost the city. Is there a number out there?
There hasn't been a number yet. It's being taken care of by the Indiana Historical Society. The sign, I think the sign can be repaired, hopefully. There's like a frame that surrounds the metal plaque. Hopefully, especially because these signs are somewhat formatted. They're made very similarly from historical marker to historical marker throughout the state. Hopefully they'll just be able to repair it relatively inexpensively. I don't even think they necessarily have to cast a whole new sign.
Or if it's just the post, like the post.
It wasn't the post. It was the frame around the sign. I saw pictures of it. So they they wiggled it back and forth until they were able to snap the metal and then get the sign off.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it's just unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary. It's also incredibly self-defeating if your self-stated goal is to act as opposition to, gay pride or homosexuality's freedom of expression throughout the United States. You are self-defeating when you act out and behave in this manner. It's not helping to go support your cause in any meaningful capacity.
Yeah, and lots of cameras downtown, so we'll see your picture in the paper here before too long.
Yeah, well, we've already got several still photos that were caught on the closed circuit television, and the police have already indicated that they're directing resources to investigate and solve this issue, which, look, hey, I'm fine with that, but maybe can we also direct a little bit of resources to investigating the shooting that happened at one of my properties last year? I'd sure like to identify and hold accountable the folks who shot into my property dozens of times, then ran off into the wild blue yonder. That'd be nice. But, hey, look, if we're going to catch some bad guys, I'm fine with that. I don't support vandalism and lawlessness in downtown Indianapolis, and this isn't the kind of activity that I think that we should be supportive of here, even if it's for a cause that one might dispute with or disagree.
No, 100%. You can't go around and vandalize the city just because you don't agree with the sign.
No, we have the right to disagree, and you also, no matter how much it enrages you, you can't erase history at the end of the day, whether that's Confederate history, whether that's gay history. It's all part of human history at the end of the day, and as long as we're reading about, cataloging, and writing history, then we can continue to learn from history, because those who do not learn from history are what? They're doomed to repeat it, right? Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez on the radio. Coming up next, we are going to discuss 4 million Americans that are getting ready to lose their SNAP benefits, and some experts are warning that this will result in a surge of violence. Wonderful. Tell you about that coming up in the next segment. Stay tuned to 93 WIBC.
Everyone's talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like your neighbor Jerry.
When we first started looking for different options, we went to the internet. Really, we did choose Galaxy, and definitely happy that we did. We first had our front porch and our pool deck done. Decided we loved it so much, we had them out about 10, 11 months later to finish up and do our back porch.
Commercial or residential, 4 times stronger than epoxy, and it comes with a lifetime warranty.
The crews at Galaxy were great. They actually cared about my property, very punctual, knowledgeable, and just a great group of workers.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings works for any area like patios, garage floors, driveways, and around pools.
I'm 100% satisfied. It's not slippery and it's not hot. I was very impressed with the product. It's amazing that I don't burn my feet and my 6-year-old doesn't fall.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com. We are out of this world.
Are you looking for a great deal on a certified pre-owned vehicle? Well, we've got them at Tom Roush Lincoln and Fishers.
Choose from a great selection of Lincoln certified pre-owned Nautilus, Aviator, Corsair, and Navigator, all with the confidence of a 6-year, 100,000-mile comprehensive warranty coverage. Get rates as low as 1.99% on qualifying Lincoln certified pre-owned models.
So upgrade to that Lincoln luxury at Tom Roush Lincoln and Fishers.
Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Serving Indiana means being ready for growing energy demands. At Duke Energy, we're adding more power to the grid and working on hundreds of local projects to make your energy more reliable. We've strengthened nearly 20,000 poles, updated more than 270 substations, and prevented hundreds of thousands of outage hours with self-healing grid technology, so your power can come back on faster than ever. That's the smarter energy future Indiana deserves. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Life is expensive enough as it is. Your shower doesn't need to be. Switch to Suave Men 2-in-1 Body and Face Wash and realize the same clean as other brands for less. 80% of men agree Suave cleans just as well as the leading brands for half the price or less. Made right here in the USA. You know the difference between paying for quality and paying for a fancy bottle. Suave Men is quality without the unnecessary extras. Check out Suave Men 2-in-1 Body and Face Wash at Walmart for less than $5. What are you waiting for? Same clean, less cash.
Ben Franklin here to talk to you about water filtration. Unfiltered water in your home is no joke. Did you know tap water can shorten the life of your pipes and, even worse, be dangerous to your family's health? Our punctual plumbers can install a whole home system that filters water before it enters your pipes. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com or call 877-BEN-1776 to request an appointment.
Go with the flow, the local pros call Benjamin Franklin Plumbing.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
When it came to setting them up for a bright future, Indiana Tech did more for these graduates than they ever imagined.
It gave me the background and the confidence to keep aiming higher.
It put me in a position to help others reach their potential.
With over 100 career-focused certificates and degrees in in-demand fields like business, healthcare, cybersecurity, and more. Isn't it time to see what Indiana Tech can do for you? Learn more at online.indianatech.edu.
Registration for the next class session ends August 14th.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What they announced this morning that may take place this afternoon. I'm Jake McDaniel. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Indiana might see 2 rounds of severe weather move through the region. Forecasters say the first round is set to move through between 1 and 7 today.
The main risk is going to be those damaging wind gusts of 60 to upwards of 80 miles per hour. Most of it would be more in that 60 range, but we can't rule out some higher wind gusts depending on how organized the system is as it comes through.
Aaron Updike at the National Weather Service says it'll be hot and humid across much of central Indiana this afternoon into the evening. The U.S. and Iran pausing military strikes again to give peace talks some space after 2 weeks of conflict. Iran says it'll reciprocate following a push from China to resume stalled diplomatic efforts in Pakistan. And NASCAR driver Corey Heim won the Brickyard 400. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The colonies needed to talk to each other without Britain listening. Benjamin Franklin had a solution.
WIBC celebrates the spirit of 76, brought to you by Samuel Solutions Group.
July 27th, 1775. The Continental Congress established a new postal system for the United Colonies and appointed Benjamin Franklin as the first Postmaster General. British mail had never been fully trusted. Letters could be read, intercepted, or delayed. A colonial postal system meant secure communication between delegates, commanders, and committees. Franklin knew the job better than anyone. Britain had trusted him to run their colonial mail for years. That turned out to be their mistake.
The spirit of 76. As we celebrate 250 years, remember to thank God for our liberty, love your country for our freedoms, and proudly share your patriotism. Brought to you by Samuel Solutions Group.
Welcome back to 93 WIBC. Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez on the radio. Like, share, subscribe on the YouTube machine. Hop in the chats. Join the show while we're broadcasting live. In the next segment, we'll read the best YouTube comments of the day. So now is your last opportunity to join in the fun. This segment, however, wanted to discuss the 4 million Americans who have lost their access to SNAP benefits. Now leftists are threatening violence in retaliation. Threats in the form of a warning, as experts say, higher rates of shootings will follow as a result of cutting their SNAP benefits. This sounds like a threat to me, Jerry. What say you?
I mean, definitely, but why are the SNAP benefits being reduced? Is it because you're able-bodied person, you're not going out here and working?
Especially when they're only requiring you to go out and get a part-time job. We're not asking a high threshold here. If you can work 20 hours a week at your local Walmart, you can still qualify for the SNAP benefits.
And there's ways around all this. We did a story, I believe it was Together, where that person drove all the way to Illinois to spend like $400 on sodas because they couldn't do it here.
Really? I hadn't heard about that story. That's crazy.
So they couldn't use their benefits here. So people are still getting around this. This is crazy, but literally to come out and say there will be violence if you don't give us our sugary drinks is a problem.
This is according to Dr. Sharvin Tagavi, who says you can certainly show there's an association between food insecure parishes and violent injury or gun violence. The root cause of food insecurity is probably the same root cause of gunshot wounds, which is which is an incredible statement to make, which is having limited access and divestment in basic needs of certain communities. So what it sounds like to me, again, is extortion, almost like that character on Parks and Recreation, Mona Lisa Saperstein, remember?
Money, please.
Oh, no, there's no money.
Oh,
okay.
That's fine. I'll just destroy this office.
Hey!
Money, please. Money, please.
Ben, give her some money. It's easier.
If you don't give us the free sodas, then we're going to destroy your communities.
Yep. And that does exactly sound like what's on the way.
This might sound incredibly insensitive, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know those signs that they have outside of every major national park? Don't feed the bears. Don't feed the animals. Do you know why they have those signs outside the park? Do you think it's because those parks hate the animals? They don't want them to be fed? They want them to starve and die in the wilderness? No, it's because when you start feeding the animals, when they get used to human intervention, then they start depending on the human intervention. Then all of a sudden, you're seeing the bears come right up to the campgrounds. And if you don't give that bear what they demand, they're going to do the same thing to your RV that these people are threatening to do to your community because you yanked their SNAP benefits. Do we see a connection or a correlation here, Jerry, or am I just being insensitive?
No, I think you're spot on. I think one of the other big problems is, right, the bear stops hunting for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's dependent on you completely, and that we've done that to a whole community.
There's been a generation of coddling that has been allowed to take place, and that's why I find it incredibly gratifying, whether it's talking about the SNAP benefits issue or the prevalent issue of homelessness that has been plaguing Democrat cities across the nation. Here was Heather McDonald telling some hardcore truth-telling about vagrancy with Andrew Clevin on his podcast.
I refuse to use the term homeless because that was the biggest marketing coup on the part of advocates, was to brand them homeless when the problem has nothing to do with housing. It has everything to do with mental illness, chemical abuse, and social disaffiliation, because these people, frankly, I've spent a lot of time on Skid Row in Los Angeles and Santa Ana in the vagrant territories around City Hall, talking to people. They are entitled. They are not gentle lambs who are out there braving the elements because they have nowhere to go. To be very blunt, Andrew, they are obnoxious. I remember talking to some gutter punks, as they're called, in Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco, these youth that ride the rails up and down the West Coast to Panhandle. And one guy who was just so offensive, I said, well, why should I give you money? He said, because you have $1 and I don't. So therefore, I'm entitled to your $1. These people should not be there. But again, they have been glamorized and sanctified by the advocates who hate capitalism.
He's out of line, but he's right.
It reminds me the situation she describes, and I'll never forget this. This happened to me in downtown Indianapolis, where you had a man. I forget what the sign said. It was, we'll work for food, money for food, homeless and hungry, something to that extent. And I, felt bad. And I was a much more naive person at that time. And there was a nearby convenience store. I think it was the Dollar General Express. And I went in and bought the guy a ham sandwich. Why not? Ham sandwich, I think a bag of chips, just a little lunch. And he took the sandwich, threw it on the ground, and said, "I don't want your effing sandwich. I want the money so I can buy my own food."
Yeah. He didn't want food.
He doesn't want food. No. He wants the drugs, wants the alcohol.
Anything
other than food.
I think we're gonna
handed you food.
I think we're gonna find out about a bigger problem though. Is this homeless industrial complex?
Yes,
that's the next fraud bubble that's gonna pop. It's we have these buildings in San Francisco. I'm sure we have them here where there's 700 people that are registered. 40 people live in the building, and that business is making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and nobody's occupying this homeless center. They're all on the street.
Look at the scale, the vastness of fraud in the state of California alone, where they spent $24 billion on the homeless industrial complex. That's, I think it was north of $150,000 per homeless person in the state of California, and you still couldn't get them a home?
$150,000 per person
is insane. And I think I'm being conservative with that estimate. I'd have to go back on the Google machine and go back and find the actual average, but I mean, it was a substantial payout per homeless person, and they're still not able to solve the problem.
That's what I'm saying. Their fraud is rampant.
It goes to exactly what Heather McDonald was saying. What we don't have is a quote unquote homelessness crisis. What we have is a mental health crisis, a drug abuse crisis, and a criminal vagrancy problem. Bring back the criminal vagrancy laws, bring back the mental asylums, bring back mandatory treatment, and you will put a cap on a lot of these problems that these cities are experiencing. But instead, we've been content to coddle this element, and it's having a corrosive effect on our society that we've all borne witness to. Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. This has been Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez on the radio. But now, the moment that you've all been waiting for. Coming up in the next segment, we turn the radio over to you, the listener, where you become the star of the show, and we read the best YouTube comments of the day. Don't miss a moment. Keep those dials locked right here to 93 WIBC. We'll be rounding out the show coming up next.
Hammer and Nigel show. Nobody has more fun on the radio than we do. Find out for yourself. We cracked the mic at 3:06 this afternoon.
Ever walk into your house and it just feels sticky? The AC is on, but something's off. That heavy air, that damp feeling, like you can't quite get comfortable. Here's the thing. It's not your AC, it's your crawl space. Because when moisture gets underneath your home, it doesn't stay there. It rises into your floors, into your air, into your entire home. And that leads to that sticky, humid feeling inside. Higher energy bills from overworking your AC, musty, damp smells, even long-term damage below your home. Good news, Groundworks offers a free inspection. Groundworks trained and certified experts know how to control moisture at the source. With crawl space encapsulation, vapor barriers, and dehumidification systems designed specifically for your home's soil and climate. No temporary fixes, just long-term solutions backed by nationally supported warranties. Because your home should feel cool, not like the outdoors followed you in. In case you missed it, Indiana Foundation Service is now Groundworks. Visit groundworks.com to book your free inspection today.
Hammer Nigel here. This July, Lopez Center is celebrating America's 250th anniversary with their 250 for 250 event. Start with a free T-test and start testosterone replacement therapy between now and July 31st. Continue that treatment for 90 days. You'll receive a $250 credit.
If you've noticed your energy isn't what it used to be, your gains have stopped at the gym, your motivation slipping, that libido has disappeared, low testosterone could be the reason. At Low T Center, their licensed providers specialize in diagnosing and treating low testosterone with personalized treatment plans and ongoing monitoring to help you feel your best. It's what they do. FixMyLowT.com. Go there right now and book your free T-test. For more information on how to take advantage of the 250 for 250 celebration, visit fixmylowt.com. Offer ends July 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
Pat Sullivan here for the Michaelis Corporation. Storm damage? Call Michaelis. Here's Richard Michaelis.
Hi, Pat. Michaelis has served Central Indiana for over 40 years. We offer free home inspections and are experts in damage caused by rain, wind, hail, and tree impacts. We help you navigate the insurance process to make it as easy as possible.
If you suffered storm damage, call the local company you can trust. Call 844-FIXED-INDY. Water, storms, fire, or wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
At My Eye Doctor, we're here to help you see your best and find your style. Whether you need new contacts, an updated prescription, or designer frames, your local My Eye Doctor team will help you find the right fit. And because your vision can change over time, annual eye exams are an important part of protecting your long-term eye health. We welcome all insurance plans, and for a limited time, get a complete pair of glasses starting at just $95. Visit myeyedr.com to schedule your eye exam today.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Rock legends Deep Purple are coming to Everwise Amphitheater on August 24th with special guest Kansas. Get your tickets now at WIBC.com.
Welcome back to the one and only mighty WIBC, the premier talk show radio station in all of Indiana. Thanks for spending your morning here with Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez, producer Kev on the board, pushing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function. And now, Jerry, the moment many listeners have been waiting the entire show for, the moment when we take the biggest broadcasting risk in local radio and make you, the listener, the star for one glorious moment while we read the best YouTube comments of the day. We're going to start off with Chris Lucas, 1975, who asks, "How's the hair, Ethan?" Well, it is long and luxuriant. I'm a very long individual. I think I'm one of the tallest, if not the tallest person here at WIBC, and I also have long, luxurious locks. I only get my hair cut about maybe once a year, and then I just enjoy watching the hair go through seasons of change. I'll get about 4 or 5 inches cut off, and then just watch it all grow back out again. I like it.
Yeah, I don't get to experience anything like that. I may shave in the shower. And, yeah.
Is that because of the military background?
No,
a lot of military guys like to keep the hair short.
I like to keep it short anyway, but I started, getting a little bit of that monkey butt back there and took it before God did. Do it on my own terms. I got a good one for you. This is Dusty Tails, who asked the question, can you really misspell a misspelled word?
You're talking about the Quality Leering Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. No, I don't think that's possible. Charles Ludi says she took the word salad speech, making tips from Kamala Harris, talking about that Madison protester who's calling cops, police officers, an invading force in Madison and demanding an end to policing while also demanding control over the hiring and firing process.
James Ellis says, got an idea here. Put flock cameras in the stores where they steal food.
Ooh,
problem solved.
That'd be a good idea. Claudia H. Creates says, can we get a show with Jerry, Baker, and Ethan together? Ooh, that sounds That sounds like a fire combo indeed, but it's ultimately up to WIBC management to decide.
Jennifer Morris has a different idea. I think Jerry Ethan should add Johnette to their show. It'd be perfect.
I think that'd be interesting. Jeanette can be the investigative journalist side. You know, she can be the fact-finding wing of the program. I like that idea. Jennifer Schmidt Schoolcraft, Governor Jen says, I love your hat, Ethan. Thank you. I'm holding it up for the camera here. This is my leather top hat that I got at the Indiana State Fair a few years ago, and I just love the way it looks when I wear it.
Ben said, I'm only here on the YouTube chat for the honeypot discussion.
Talking about that 17th century honeypot from the 1600s that I found at the Heartland Antique Show. Yeah, I don't blame you. I love talking about antiques too. BLC 1595 says the Don Lemon situation is an attack on free speech. I couldn't disagree more, BLC, because you take away freedom of speech when you start breaking into people's private buildings and places of worship and disrupting their event. You can protest and march your happy ass out there on the sidewalk till the cows come home. That's fine. That's freedom of speech. Busting in and breaking down people's doors so you can harass parishioners, not freedom of speech.
Yeah, Jim says speech to text ain't perfect yet.
Oh, yeah, very true. That's let me down.
I hate people that use speech to text.
Not only does speech
I hate it.
Not only does speech to text suck, now autocorrect is somehow getting worse. I can't tell you how often autocorrect will correct a correctly spelled word to try and change the context for what it thinks you mean. And no, damn it, computer, I know what I texted. I know what I typed. I want that, not what you want to put in for me. I get technology. Don't like that. Let's see. Charles Ludi says, "Tu vista un buen fin."
He asked me if I had a good weekend in Spanish. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you what that meant because I can't read the Spanish.
Look at Jim gives the Pink Bass Pro Shop had a shout out in the YouTube chat. I appreciate it.
Where did you get the pink?
Got this from one of my friends, man. Yeah. It's a stolen hat.
Real men wear pink.
Real men wear free hats.
Or salmon.
Thank you for your donation to the hats.
Let's see. Eddie Wilhoit says, good morning. Just dropped by to give my love to the YouTube chat. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for dropping in and sharing your thoughts, Eddie, even if it was only momentarily.
Yeah, man. This is it's been fun. We're back tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, we are back tomorrow. We got a few more comments to go through. I also emailed you a rundown if you don't have this. Let's see. Charles Ludi says Washington wouldn't, Grant couldn't, and Trump shouldn't. Talking about some of our segments from sound clips from the Washington Correspondents' Dinner.
James says Aldi makes you do security deposits on the shopping carts.
As well they should, because otherwise the shopping carts will walk away, whereas this incentivizes people to take the things back, and then all of a sudden you don't have shopping carts populating the neighborhood. I can't tell you how many like Kroger and Walmart shopping carts you see just pockmarked around the city that people have taken. It's ridiculous. Don B 26 says better to be lucky than good in regards to our Lord Timothy Dexter segment, the luckiest man to ever live. That was a crazy segment. If you missed that, that was the end of hour one, segment 4, where we talked about the history of Lord Timothy Dexter. I highly encourage you to listen to that segment if you haven't heard the history of that colorful Revolutionary War character before now. Going down the list, Terry.
How about this one? Jim says, how many folks in D.C. have Chinese nationals as quote-unquote office help?
Lots. You know they do. Well, look at the former majority leader of the Senate.
Yeah.
His wife left for China as he's kicking around in the hospital. And we still don't have proof of life when it comes to Mitch McConnell.
Went and met the vice president of China.
That seems a little weird to me, so the question certainly makes sense. Terry Dickinson says they made the movie about Lord Timothy Dexter, and it was called Forrest Gump. I could see that. Forrest Gump was another lucky man. Charles Ludi says the Timothy Dexter story sounds like a routine example of spousal abuse for the time. I had to look him up. Thank goodness conditions for women have improved in modern times. Yeah, that was a part of the story that we didn't necessarily get to in the segment, was the way that he treated his wife. I told you he faked his own death and had a wake at which he gave his wife a good caning in front of the crowd because she wasn't demure and distraught enough for his liking. But it goes beyond that, because before he held the wake, he would refer to her as a ghost in the house.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, she's just spiriting around the house. That's nobody. That's just a ghost in the corner. Pay her no mind.
This is a big one. Low-dollar theft in Philadelphia is now treated as summary offense instead of a misdemeanor. This is why grocery stores keep their pistachio nuts under glass. So I know in San Francisco, didn't they raise the threshold for what it was for a felony, and then it just
I think in the whole state of California, it was like
$1,000 for it to be a felony. So you could just go around stealing whatever you wanted, and cops wouldn't even respond.
You remember the camera footage from the back seat of a police officer cruiser when you had two young women who were arrested after they recriminalized thefts below $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
And they were looking at each other and they said, oh yeah, they made that illegal to steal again. Yeah, it's a big problem. Charles Luty says Obama enforced immigration policy as Clinton did before it became uncool. How soon we forget.
Yeah.
Times they are a-changing. Brian Wirch, 3062, increases premiums for the rest of us and the cost of goods, talking about shoplifting that takes place and why these grocery stores close. We had a lot of good comments throughout the show. Feel free to join us again tomorrow, where Jerry Lopez and I will be returning to the airwaves once again. Thanks for spending your morning with us. I think we had some very engaging conversations. Hopefully you had fun and you learned something a little bit along the way. Coming up tomorrow, we've got stories including Greg Ballard, who appears to be okay with boys and girls sports. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. And a 15-year-old shot and killed in Kentucky months after being honored for saving another child. A dramatic story and a tragic one we'll be getting to the bottom of tomorrow. Stay tuned. Ethan Hatcher and Jerry Lopez will be returning. But coming up next, you got Tony Katz Today. Stick around to 93 WIBC.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately,